Welcome into the Cam and Strick podcast.
Yoink, let's go. Sorry, we're gonna probably post this a little late. Andy.
Probably.
No, we are gonna post it.
It would have been out already by now.
12 o'clock. 12 o'clock. So sorry about that. Andy got sick.
Probably the worst case of flu that anyone has ever seen of 2025, dude. It's probably among the worst cases that people have ever
Why? What
seen
happened to
before. High fever.
Did you puke?
I did not, actually.
Then it's not the worst.
Are you trying to say that your flu is worse than
my
flu?
No, but I sucked things up. So here, can I explain something right quick?
Dude, you were sick as a dog. You were like...
I was horribly sick.
You actually called in that you couldn't do a game, but luckily you weren't doing the game.
I wasn't doing the game
So
anyway.
you wouldn't have done the game.
Yeah, that was bad. I couldn't get everybody sick, man. Mm-hmm. I couldn't get everybody sick.
Well, no, you weren't healthy enough to
go
and do
your
job.
No. I would have sucked up anything if need be, like I've always have throughout my career in hardcore ways. And Andy's like, oh, God, my chills were bad. I'm thinking, times that by 10 and go play a hockey game. That's what you feel like when you withdraw off of opioids.
Why are you trying to make your flu worse than my flu?
I shouldn't. You're right. I didn't mean to be like
just because my flu was extremely rare, I think also.
Probably not.
No,
probably
just
not.
what I was dealing with. I mean, very serious.
You got the chills just like anybody else.
Slept for 2 days.
But here's the difference.
I couldn't get out of bed, dude.
Good. You need that.
2 days.
You need that, man.
And you know what happened to me? I slept for 2 days, all day Sunday, all day Monday, literally all day. Like, did not get out of bed. And then late Monday afternoon, I got a hold of this ancient recipe.
I'm not chirping.
That they use
in China,
in Asian countries. It's a very well known. Well, it's called tom yum soup.
Oh, tom yum.
Tom yum.
Dang good.
Tom yum. And it has this is like, everyone grows up eating like chicken soup and whatnot.
Yeah, baby.
This is even better. This will knock the flu out. This is what the ancient people of Asia. This is why they've been living for a long time, drinking this type of stuff. So when you're sick and you have the flu, I'm telling you, man, call up your local Thai restaurant, Vietnamese restaurant, and order yourself some tom yum soup, man. It'll knock it out.
Yeah, I mean, you got to take your vitamins. You got to drink that. What we get from First Form 2, the hydration packet.
Oh, dude, I've been
bone broth,
crushing those.
Bone broth, all that stuff. Kate just makes me tea with lemon and honey and all this different stuff. There's a lot you could do.
Dude, the tom yum soup is what's going to knock it out, man. I mean,
can I just say what the difference is, though? Andy calls me, and he's like, man, I am not feeling good. He's like,
did I tell you the night before or no?
No, the night before you were texting me because I was on the bus going to the airport from California.
Sick.
And you're like, you asked me other questions. I didn't think you were sick at all. In fact, if I go back, you were in happy Andy mode. And I'm like, okay, you seem fine. So the next day, we're like, okay, we got to bang this out or whatever. The next couple of days, we got a podcast to do. So Andy tells me he's sick. And I'm like, all right, that's cool, man. Here, I'll give you options on what the times we could come in here. I'm like, here, drink Gatorade. Remember, I always tell you, if you crush water, which is great, sometimes you don't get hydrated. You might have to throw soda in the mix or Gatorade. And I was comforting to you.
Sunday at 4 o'clock. I've come down with a pretty bad bug. Been sick the last couple of days, sleeping all day.
And what'd I say?
Drink Gatorade.
There it is. Andy would have been like, okay, are you still coming to the podcast at 10:30? I'm like, Andy, no, I'm pissing out of my rear end. Okay, I'll clean it up for you guys. I'm puking everywhere. Kate's literally has to put wet towels down so the dogs don't lick it up. Panic mode everywhere. You would have been like, Ty's got practice. Come in and just suck it up. And I probably would have done that. But I was comforting. I said, I'll get up the next day and we'll double dip today and we'll do our thing.
So let me tell you about this tom yum soup. And a lot of you who know people from Thailand who come from the native land.
I would just not go too long.
Vietnamese. I was going to tell you,
it's not that big.
Kaffir leaves.
Kaffir?
Kaffir leaf, garlic, lemongrass.
Yeah, wheatgrass and
chili.
stuff.
No, real chili.
Oh, yeah, chilies.
Yeah, like chilies.
Like chili, the pepper.
Yeah. Chilies, like the real pepper.
Probably like opens up your...
I mean, and so I got a level, like you can order 1 through 5 in level of spiciness. And if you can tell right now, my energy level is still not where it was.
Low down.
So I'm going to try to read it.
Kamjang.
Most people wouldn't even be working today with my burning chest that I'm dealing with right now. I'm worried that I have pneumonia.
Because Andy talked to me for like an hour last night, and he was all kind of, had a lot of energy. And I'm thinking, if he pulls a shoot on me today, then I might have to counter back.
So listen. So last night though, because I slept the first 2 days, I couldn't sleep all night.
Yeah.
And I feel like
Masturbate. See what that does.
Oh, is that
Yeah.
really?
For sure.
That would help you go to sleep?
Are you a man? You don't know that?
Dude, I could not sleep all night last night.
Gotta beat that dick
I had
up.
the bed to myself, too, because like no one wanted to
Kate's sick now. She's
be
upstairs
around me.
sleeping.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, she's sick now.
Yeah.
It's going around, man. I don't want to talk about sickness. I hate when people talk about being sick.
Well, then just
around
stop talking
me.
about it.
So just so you know, I'm with you right now. I just wanted to
Stop
give you a heads
talking
up as to why
about
we're putting
it.
the podcast out
Yeah.
late. But we're here now, baby.
Yeah, we're here
And
now, baby.
it's going around, so make sure you and all this like flu shot stuff. Does this stuff even work? You know, I've never had a flu shot. My whole family's gotten sick. They all get flu shots, and they're all sick.
I don't know.
So,
the flu
is that
shot,
a scam too?
No, not everything's a scam. Not everything's a scam. When we think of the pandemic, when we don't need it, there was a lot more around what they did as far as the vaccines with the pandemic. Everything else, they're not forcing you to do.
Flu A and COVID at the same time, and they told him when they did the testing, this is very rare. It's a very rare case. They're not used to seeing this. They're not used to seeing like COVID and flu A at once.
Yeah, he's okay. He's got a good immune system.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So get that Tom Yum soup, man. That'll make you feel better. I'm gonna get some today.
You said you're still gonna stop
just
talking
to
about
continue to knock it out. Thailand, Vietnamese.
Yeah, baby.
Wherever you get your Asian food, but ask if they have Tom Yum soup. You can get shrimp, you can get chicken and stuff like that inside of it.
Starting to bore the people. What do you want to start with here? You're starting to bore the people. You got anything? You got anything?
Well, and first of all, I'll give you a shout out because you did help me get through the sickness.
That's
with the power bars,
Yes.
the hydration sticks, man.
Vitamins, all that stuff helps.
I never
too.
lost an appetite, really. I wasn't eating a lot, but I just didn't lose an appetite. But I was drinking a lot of water with the hydration sticks, man, just to keep me going.
But don't eat too many lemons. I ate too many lemons because I was trying to get healthy, and my stomach,
What do you mean you're eating lemons?
Well, I could eat a lemon like an orange.
You do?
I gave Andy some oranges too. Get that vitamin C in you, boy. I could eat a lemon like an orange. It doesn't. I love the taste of them, so I put them in water every single day. And then I was putting them in the tea. So if I had too much acidity into my stomach, and then it hurts so fucking bad, and it's like you're getting sick all over again because it cripples you. And so anyway, it's all good.
You must have a terrible immune system.
It used to be.
If I had to guess,
that's a good question. It used to be really good. But through the years, I think I've slowed myself down so much with abusing my body in ways to where
that's what'll happen.
And now I'm like getting sick a couple times a year. It's like, okay, I got to figure some shit out. I'm drinking water. You know,
well, water will help.
These bad boys. So,
and plus, it's high allergy season too right now, man. So anyway, we got Bill Daly coming up today too.
Big boy.
Good conversation with him. Although it's one of those conversations, people listen. First off, he doesn't do like hour-long interviews, which you would typically do for a podcast.
20 minutes.
So when he said he'd come on, I don't think the idea in his mind was, hey, I'm going to do an hour with these guys. So he said, how long do you need? And when I told him, he's like, we're trying to squeeze it in. Dude, this guy's got meetings left and right.
Yeah, he's very important.
So trying to squeeze in like an hour long. So I think we got to 40 minutes, something like that, maybe somewhere around there.
Rapid.
And let me say this, listen, you know, and we'll have him back on again. I didn't want it to be a total gotcha conversation
we don't want
either. You know what I mean?
No, of course not. We want Bettman on.
Just because, like, you know, they're coming off the Four Nations. We did this a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
The league was feeling good about themselves, a lot of positives, and you know, you kind of wanted to kind of feed off of that energy too, you know?
I don't know. There was a couple of things that maybe I was going to ask about the Russian stuff, and maybe I was going to be like, well, they went to war, you know, they're invading a country. I'm like, well, what if you could look back in time? The U.S. did the same thing.
Yeah, I know.
They all, you know, I know 50 countries signed off on invading Iraq, but the whole thing was a fucking scam. Weapons of mass destruction was a scam. You know, the drone strike had a lot of casualties in it. Obama droned the fuck out of everybody, killed kids, all that stuff. And we did the same thing. We took over and tried to nation build and fucking do this and do that. And
my chest is burning right now.
So why can't the Russians be in there? You know, I don't know. Is it apples and bowling balls? I don't know.
Apples and bowling balls.
Apples and oranges. Oh. Is that the case? Because Russia's doing it in the U.S. I'm just asking why
the double IHF didn't allow Russia. The IOC didn't allow Russia.
I'm just saying though.
And the NHL just felt like I guess that they couldn't allow Russia either. Yet This is where it just doesn't make any sense to me.
Players playing
because like you're celebrating Alexander Ovechkin. I mean, the league has something crazy planned as he gets within like 5 goals in terms of what they're going to be doing to celebrate this countdown when he eventually passes Wayne Gretzky for the all-time goal-scoring record. So you are celebrating and including Russian players just by doing that, even though he plays for the Washington Capitals. I guess you couldn't have a Russian team. I don't know. My only thing is this. I don't ever want to see a best-on-best tournament or a international tournament involving NHL players ever again
without
that
Russia.
Doesn't include Russia.
I agree with that, homeboy.
Because it's just not right, man. You have too many great elite of the elite monsters in the league that are from Russia. So it's just not a best on best. I want to see this USA team go toe-to-toe with Vasilevsky and Kucherov and Malkin and Ovi. Everyone talks about, well, it's so great that, McDavid and Crosby got to play together. Well, yeah. But what about if Malkin and some of these guys get to play with Kaprizov and whatever? Ovi gets to play with Kaprizov. There's a lot of that going on too. So, hey, politics aside, let's hope we never have that again. Include Russia. Otherwise, just don't even have it because it's not a best on best if you don't include Russia. And if you're not going to include Russia, then just make it a best of 5 or a best of 3 series, USA versus Canada. We don't need Finland. We don't need Sweden if we're not going to have Russia.
I can't argue with that. I can't argue with that, man. Let the 2 big boys go toe-to-toe, and, they'll get wild, they'll get physical, it'll be exactly
Well, because the tournament ended up being what we thought it would be, USA versus Canada, with a couple of other teams involved.
Yeah. That the games weren't that exciting.
They weren't even, like, Finland versus Sweden. Like, what even happened in that particular game?
I
thought I would see some hatred in that game.
They don't hate each other. Why would they?
Well, Finland versus Sweden, that's a pretty big rivalry.
Yeah, but like there's no external, history.
It's not it's not Slovakia versus Czechia.
And maybe there is if you go back in the day. I'm sure the Vikings tore each other apart back in the day, and then I don't know if they went to war. Maybe they did, but it wasn't extreme enough to where that's in the back of your head as a young kid growing up there. I would say that's probably not the case.
If you were to ask some OG Canada hockey players, and I'm not even going back to like the 72. Summit Series and all that type of stuff. I'm talking like, Canadian hockey players who played in the 90s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s. A lot of them would probably tell you their biggest rival was Russia in comparison to Team USA. The Team USA, Canada has always been a great rivalry. You look at the World Juniors, all the, the historic games on New Year's Eve and all that.
Yeah.
That is a tradition. But Canada versus Russia has always been an incredible rivalry when it comes to hockey for years and years, man.
Before the U.S. was really a thing with them.
Yeah. And now, obviously.
And then the U.S. and Russia, I mean, it would have been awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what happens in the next couple years and see where it goes. But can't you just call them like Team A?
Team something.
Team
NHL.
But if they win, they're going to celebrate in Russia. I don't know.
Listen.
Are you bringing the Stanley Cup to Russia? If a team wins, are they going to be able to go home?
No, they couldn't. They didn't do that last year. Remember?
Yeah.
They haven't been able to take the cup back to Russia.
Mm-hmm.
But
oh yeah. Sorry.
What happened?
Nate asked an email. Yeah, for an email. Sorry, I don't need to be on my phone.
Who's Nate?
The guy we're interviewing today.
Oh,
Nate Thompson.
Oh, yeah.
Who looks like Roman Reigns.
Oh, he looks like an actor. I'm trying to figure out which actor it is.
He looks like a couple people.
Mm-hmm.
I saw him in L.A.
From like Lord of the Rings or something?
I go, what's up, baby? I go, you need to come on the pod. He's like, I'll do it. So it's text him. Boom.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he's cool as shit. He's got some hardcore stories.
Yeah, I know he does, man. I'm looking forward to talking with him.
I am too.
I'm looking forward to that.
So sorry, I didn't mean to.
Well, you just like completely disrupted the flow of where we were going.
Ovi scored a really. How about him just scoring these fucking empty netters? They're just trying. Tom Wilson's battling like blah, 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 blah. Then he hits the puck over. Then somebody tries to grab it. And he just taps it. And Ovi goes up and like a one-timer backhand, not even looking at the net, between two guys' legs. And it just trickles in for an empty netter. And their whole team goes bonkers, man. They go bonkers. They love him. It's so cool. It really, really is the coolest thing. And you ever see any of those like pregame warm-ups where some superstars, when you're out in the tunnel before you go on, before the game, where everybody's like, rawr, some guys don't say anything. A lot of the superstars don't say a word. They might go out there and they're thinking. Oh, he's like joking with everybody, doing a little dance. He's singing a fucking song. Like, you're just like, God, he's relaxed. Okay, I'm going to be relaxed. Oh, let's go.
Right.
And relax is Not relax, meaning I'm not going to go in the forecheck. No, this like your mind's relaxed. Like don't stress. Go do your thing. Get the puck out of the zone. Go crush some guys. Play hardcore, but relax your mind so you could do it do a better job at it. And when your superstar is goofy and funny, it's a good thing, man.
I'm gonna listen. There's been a lot of talk about the empty net goals in regards to Ovi. Well, I don't love seeing. I don't want to see him just get nothing but empty net goals.
Just get it done. Just get it done.
Now he's tied for the league lead right now in empty net goals.
Don't care.
With 8. Okay, Rantanen also has 8. Hagel has 7. Kaprizov with 6.
Don't care.
Now let me go back to, like, I'll say, let's go back the last 10 years, because I think some people may be surprised with this, okay?
Type faster.
Okay, so here we go. Empty net goals since 2014, 2015. Empty net goals. The all-time leader since those 10 years is Ovechkin. He's got 43. Crosby's got 31. So that's over the course of the last 10 years, 43 goals. Since he's come into the league in 05-06, that was his first year. The leader in empty net goals is Ovi. He's got 65. Marchand has 38. I mean, that's a big difference, man.
Who's the biggest leader in hockey history?
In all time?
Yeah. But it still doesn't bother me. Like, it just doesn't. And he might break the record before with less games than when Gretzky did it.
All-time leader in empty net goals is Ovi. He just passed Gretzky.
Oh, right.
He's at 65. Gretzky has 56.
Doesn't bother me.
Hossa 40.
Yeah.
I mean, but nobody even has north of 50 besides Gretzky.
Look,
nobody else has more than 40 besides Gretzky and Ovi. Hoss is at 40. Okay, Marchand and then Crosby's 37. Mario Lemieux 33 empty net goals.
Okay.
And that's why I've always said this. Part of me. I never forget about Brett Hall when we talk about greatest goal scorers ever, because he wouldn't shoot on an empty net, and it's not like he was never on the ice.
He was on the ice here and there.
He was on the ice. He would purposely not shoot. The year that he scored 86 goals, I don't think he had an empty net goal the entire year.
I know we talked about that.
Yeah.
It is what it is. You still have to look. You're up by 1 in a very important situation and late in the game, and you're out there, and there's a reason why you're out there. So it's not like, hey, let's put Ovi in there for. They're trying to win the game.
Crosby gets a lot of empty net goals.
Yeah,
too.
You got a monster empty net goal.
He scores nice empty net goals. He strips pucks, intercepts passes, scores from weird angles. And listen, if you're Washington right now and Ovi's on the ice, Washington, you're probably going to try to get him the puck in that situation.
Dude, I watched that game live in Washington.
Some people are bothered by it, though, man.
Whatever. I watched that game in Washington, and they are trying to feed Ovi in every single situation, and it actually hindered when the Blues are playing. I'm watching it. They're trying to find him in the dumbest situations where the other guys are open.
They're forcing it.
They're forcing the issue so bad, and they actually lost that game to the Blues. How about the Peng dog? Our boy Darren Peng is getting chirped a little bit because on a TNT broadcast.
Oh yeah. He called him a one-trick pony, but then he said he didn't say that.
No, he did because it's on.
Okay, so I couldn't find the audio.
I did in 2 seconds.
Okay, find that for me, because I couldn't find the audio.
Well, you gotta press it in.
Yeah, I think maybe he said he was a one-trick pony early in his career.
And I love Penger's our boy.
So what did he say?
I just told you, he's although he is a one-trick pony throughout his career.
And listen, I'm not saying this is why he said it. I'm not even referring to Peng, but the closer he gets to Wayne, and we're pretty much there now because we're.
You want to listen to it?
Hold on, let me just say this real quick, because we're within that 10-goal range now. People who are tight with Gretzky or who played in the Gretzky era are going to side with Gretzky.
There it is.
They don't want to see Ovechkin pass Wayne Gretzky. This is a sacred record in the history books for the NHL, and I'm not saying that's why Penger said it in this situation, but he and Wayne are good friends.
Really good friends.
And we've talked to other people who are close with Wayne, and they have publicly stated they don't want to see Ovechkin break Wayne Gretzky's record. People love the fact when Ovi got hurt earlier in the year, thinking he was going to be out for a long time, and that was going to, prevent him from passing Gretzky this season, where he still very well may do it this year. It's got a high probability that he's going to do it this year. I think he's expected to pass him if he maintains the pace that he's on right now sometime in early April.
In less games than Wayne.
I know, which is even crazier.
But remember when Andy's like, God, I want Ovi to break it. And then Chaser comes on the pod, and Chaser's like, no, I don't want it to happen. And Andy's like, I agree with you. And I look at him like, what the fuck is this?
No, but I did say originally, I never wanted to see that record for Wayne be broken. I look at Wayne as like every record he has is just so sacred.
Yeah,
but
I agree with that.
If there's one goal scorer to pass Gretzky and who you would say, wow, who's the greatest goal scorer you've ever seen? I mean, it's hard to say that it's not Ovi, man. This guy scores 50, 60 goals.
And he's cool.
Every year of his career. It's amazing.
It's like if Brett Hull did it, because the way he is, like I'd love for him to break records.
Yeah.
And Ovi's the same kind of way. Like he's a different breed. And he's got 3,000 hits. You know what that does to your body?
But he's a different breed than all these guys, including Holly. Like, Holly had that run where he was unbelievable for 5 years or so, where he had 70-plus for 3 years in a row, and I want to say 50-plus 5 years in a row. But did he ever get back to 50 after that? I don't know if he ever did after that.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Ovi's scoring 50 every year of his career, it seems like.
Yeah. All right, you want to hear it?
How many years has Ovi been over 50?
Well, I give Spencer Carver and his coaching staff an awful lot of credit. We all know that Alex Ovechkin's been a bit of a one-trick pony throughout his NHL career, but that has not been the case. And there's the normal spot. We saw that here.
So anyway, and Panger's the best in the business, just so everybody knows. And now he's getting chirped. I've never heard Panger's so, I've never seen a guy that's been in the media that much be so likable from pretty much the majority of the NHL fan base. And now I start popping up on my
chirped a lot.
Yeah, man. And I read the comments and they're fucking bashing him.
Really?
Yes.
Well,
but that could just be a thing and then it goes away. Like we've all been there. You know what I mean?
Listen, Ovi's going to have his hardcore fans too. People and the younger generation, especially who grew up with Ovi, are probably going to side with Ovi, man. They want to see him break the record. He's the greatest goal scorer that they've ever seen. And there is a older generation who grew up with Wayne Gretzky, man, who they view him as the greatest ever. But in terms of goal scoring, I don't think anybody ever says that that Gretzky's not the greatest player of all time.
The one-trick pony thing, though, like Ovi, like if you look at all the goal scorers in NHL history, like Mike Bossie's probably a one-trick pony. Brett Hull was probably a one-trick pony.
How do you figure?
Well, they score goals. Ovi crushes guys. Here's
what he means by one-trick pony: standing in the left circle, not moving, and just taking one tease.
What Holly do?
Scoring goals. Holly would find that open ice all over the place.
Ovi doesn't find open ice every. Look at his goals he's scoring.
I'm not saying he doesn't,
goals.
But that's the reputation. Listen, Stamkos, similar situation.
A lot of those guys
left circle, right? I mean,
power play.
That's his sweet spot. It's no different than a player who likes to set up behind the net and is a great passer who was able to create from below the goal line. Gretzky being one of those. Bernie Federka was a guy who liked to set up below the goal line.
Why would you change where you're at in a position in a power play when it's working? So you want him to roam? Now he's not one trick pony because he has to move because they've been blocking his shots?
I'm not saying I agree with it, but one of the most unbelievable things that I've ever seen, honestly, in hockey history is the fact that this guy does score goals from that same spot. Everyone knows he's not moving from that spot. He stands there, doesn't even move, and nobody can stop him.
That's what I mean.
And everybody knows it's coming. And you know who else does it too? And it's not the only way he scores, but who does it on the other side of the ice is Draisaitl. I mean, you watch Draisaitl right now. He just goes to that spot on the opposite side of the ice,
right there,
as a left shot, and he just stands there, and guess what? He's got a great passer. That's one thing all these guys have in common. Whether it's Ovi, who had Backstrom all those years, Holly, who had Adam Oates, and he did it with some not so great centers too. And you look at Gretzky, the players that he played with, obviously in Edmonton, with all the great passers that he played with. These guys always had great passers delivering the puck and putting it on a tee. Backstrom did that forever. You know what I mean? So.
You can't call a guy.
And Draisaitl's got McDavid feeding those passes, man.
No look passes. He missed the other night. He could have had a couple more.
I know.
But you can't. And I look again. It's all good. We're just debating. Can't call a guy a one-trick pony when he has 900,000 fucking hits and a couple knockout fights.
Shit.
Like, how can you? He's a complete opposite of a one-trick pony. He's a monster, and he runs you over. Like. He's scary.
You make a great point there. You make a great point because one trick pony would insinuate that he does nothing else.
Yeah.
Right? It's not even about scoring in other ways.
No.
But would insinuate he does nothing else when he's playing, when in reality, man, this guy's a wrecking ball.
How many highlight reels do you see of him back in the day going end to end, deking guys out, jumping over, doing slide, falling on his back, scoring? I don't know.
Dude, he was a wrecking
Hanger took
ball.
a beating, and I don't like to see that because he's such an awesome guy and he's the best in the business. But he'll go away. Ain't no big deal. You know what I mean? Well, I just want to know what happened and who fucked that up. Like, this hasn't happened since, what's his name, Nate Schmidt. And then remember Sean Hill? And Sean Hill said,
"Oh yeah,
I was eating rack of lamb at a restaurant, and they must have jacked up that lamb with something that kind of infected me, or whatever the case is." But like, how does he let this happen? This hasn't happened in a long time. You're pretty routine on what's going on when you get injured and stuff like that. What doctor gave you what?
I don't think a doctor gave it to him. You know what he did though? This motherfucker, he owned it right away. I'll give him credit for that.
Yeah.
He basically came out and said, "Yeah, I took something I shouldn't have. I should have cleared it with team doctors beforehand, and I didn't do that." And that's why it was a random test. I don't know if these guys think they're not going to get tested
or
what.
Tested, dude.
And he had an injury earlier in the year. I think he blocked a shot or did something. Yeah. And maybe that's when he was rehabbing.
Do we know it was some sort of drug to help you heal?
Well, I'm sure it was a healing element.
Because there's things going on that he was partying. I'm like, they're not going to do that. You're not going to get dinged. If you even have coke, they're not going to ding you.
Recreational drugs is not what they're testing
They're going to take you in and talk to you and put you on a program, and no one's going to know for a bit unless you have to leave. But you can go do the program and play at the same time.
After multiple failed tests.
You'd have a meeting and be like, I just fucked up or whatever. It could change, but this was something probably
he came out right away and said he shouldn't have done it.
But why? How do you not know though at this point?
Oh, you know.
No, wait. Then listen. If you do something and you know it's going to be stuck in your body, and you haven't had that third testing yet, or you know that it could be random still, that's got to sit in the back of your head. Oh yeah, it does.
He's not a 20-year-old kid.
Doesn't matter.
How do you not why would you put something in your body or take something without clearing it with the trainer?
Of course.
All these guys do that all the time. I think there's even a hotline they can call to even double check and find out.
There's a million
But
ways.
you can always. So you're hiding it from the trainer.
But you're rolling the dice because, man, I would never. Trust me, that's always on your mind, with stuff.
If the trainer says, "Oh, you're all good taking that," and you get dinged, and then you realize it's on the banned list, and that's on the trainer.
Yeah, but you're still dinged.
Most trainers aren't going to make that mistake. Yeah, man, not at that level.
Damn, man, you guys are rocking and rolling. You made a big splash at the deadline. It's going to be you and Dallas in the Stanley Cup final, according to a lot of people. You're rocking and rolling, and all of a sudden, damn, you're one of your best.
Well, it's a good thing they got Seth Jones now.
Yeah, I know. 20 games, but although he's going to be back, he's going to miss three games in the playoffs.
2 games.
Oh, only 2.
Yeah, he'll miss 2 games in the playoffs. He'll carry over.
Whoa.
But I wonder how this impacts. He's in the middle of a negotiation too, trying to get a contract extension with Florida. And I think I said this last week. The bigger issue has been the term. He wants an 8-year deal. I'm sure he wants some type of security. They don't want to go that long with him. I mean, the money is what it is. I'm sure.
He get hurt a lot.
I don't know. I mean, he's dealt with his fair share of injuries, but this is just one of those situations where you just got to think that it's completely avoidable. Now, on the flip side, you could look at it and say, well,
get some rest.
He's going to be rested.
Nah, you never want to get dinged for 20. It's embarrassing.
Oh,
it's so embarrassing.
And he'll be ready to go come playoff time, but he's going to miss the first 2 games.
Imagine he was in Toronto and this happened. He's not even going to. He could walk down. He can walk anywhere where he lives, and no one's going to say a damn word to him. It's if you were dinged, a top player in Toronto, and you got dinged for 20, oh my God, you get bashed so bad. People are complaining because Shane Pinto gets 40 games
for gambling,
and this guy's cheating with control.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. You should have asked Bill Daly about that.
Well, this didn't happen.
The gambling though, Pinto.
Oh, if we had Bill Daly, I'd be like, what do you think? Anyway.
He's missed his fair share of games, but he's played a lot, dude. He played 81, 78, 68, 82, 82. Played 35 games in 2021, but that was a COVID-shortened season.
Yeah.
61, 71, 51 last year. So he's missed some games, and he's dealt with some injuries.
It's an embarrassing thing. Good thing they're in Florida. It's going to probably just people forget about it here and there. If it was in a big market in Canada, it would be way more of a pain in the ass.
They're starting to drop a little bit in Florida now with Matthew Tkachuk being down. Now Ekblad going. You can only sustain so many injuries. Now, They obviously made some moves, and I listen. I love the Marchand move. I really do, man. I think that's the best place for him to play. Is there a more perfect place for Brad Marchand to play if you're not going to be in Boston than for him to be on that team? Now he's hurt too, and they're hoping to get him back at some point before the playoffs, and they expect that he will be back before the playoffs. But you'd hope he gets enough games to get comfortable because there is going to be an adjustment playing with the new team. But this isn't like the Claude Giroux situation a few years back when Florida got Giroux at the trade deadline. And I just didn't see that being a fit. I wasn't shocked that it wasn't a fit. They gave up a first and whatever else they gave up for Claude Giroux, and then they ended up not re-signing him. I feel like Marchand has a chance to play his way into getting an extension and being part of that organization for the next few years.
He played pretty good in the Four Nations. That helped.
Oh, yeah.
Scored a nice goal. He's so funny. He's so entertaining, and he's so good for hockey in every way possible, whether winning in overtime and doing a Conor McGregor. Like, he feels the moment, licking fucking Callahan's nose, like, stupid, but you're getting attention. He goes in that press conference, and they're like, hey, what about you and Bennett? And he goes, he's
still a scumbag.
Scumbag. Yeah. That's just great. That's just great.
But they just played together. They got to know each other, man. You know what
great.
I mean?
I love it. And the way he answers questions, he's not a robot, man.
Mm-hmm.
And when he's gone, people are going. That's a big hit for the NHL.
And if Bennett doesn't re-sign, he's a guy that, you got. Listen, he wants to be there.
Not going back to Boston.
These guys who are future Hall of Famers who have had great careers, who can kind of dictate where they want to go, which is why I love Brad Marchand's press conference, man. I thought the way he handled himself was unbelievable.
He's just great.
Just so great. And here he is. He could have bashed Boston. And honestly, you would have felt like that would be within his character to kind of come out and be like,
nah.
But he wasn't going to do that.
No. They treated you good,
He even
too.
thanked Don Sweeney for getting him to Florida.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He could have sent him to a different spot or tried to, orchestrate a deal that he really wasn't wanting to go to, and maybe he would have had to make a decision there. But everyone wants to go to Florida. It's the best place to play in the league right now, hands down. I don't think anybody would second guess that. Find me a better spot to play.
I don't know.
Than Florida.
Listen, it's like Rantanen going to Dallas. He's like, let me weigh the options here.
Yeah.
Like, hell yeah, I'll go to Dallas. A, they're loaded. B, they draft extremely well.
Yeah.
They're a smart organization, well-run organization. And you're in Dallas.
It's a tax-free state.
Yeah, that. And not to mention, if you ever go down to Dallas, we stay in this unbelievable hotel right next to the rink where you could walk. There's sky rises, beautiful sky.
Beautiful city, man.
Beautiful women walking their dogs everywhere you look.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful women. If I'm a kid, I go down there one time, I look around, I'm like, yeah, I could live here.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah. And it's a big city.
Huge.
But it doesn't feel that big. They got a kind of crazy highway system there and stuff like that. But,
it's just a good, it's a good place.
I know
to play,
a lot of people were speculating LA. Mikko Rantanen made it clear pretty quickly that he wasn't going to sign an extension with the LA Kings. One team that he was talking to that I brought this up.
Edmonton.
Right away. And they tried to get a deal done. Edmonton was in position for somehow, I don't know how they were going to do all this or whatever, but to offer him more money than what he got in Dallas. I was told the morning of the trade deadline that the offer from Carolina to Rantanen was in that between $12 million and $12.5 million. Okay, so whether that's 12.25, 12.4, I don't know, it doesn't matter. He wasn't going to sign there anyway. And I was told that the number would have to start with a 13. And I think that's if he were to go to an Edmonton, Toronto, for example. Then we're talking 13 plus. Same with
what do you get at Dallas?
$12 million.
Yep.
You know what? But they put the 8 years on the table. I even tweeted this out beforehand. Like, if I was a team, like, I don't know, man. I mean, they didn't have to. I mean, I like Logan Stankoven. In fact, coming into the season, remember I said I thought
really
that he
good.
would be a
little guy, but
Calder candidate. He hasn't put up the numbers offensively this season that I thought he would, but I liked him so much in the playoffs last year. If I were a team, I don't know. I guess when you have an opportunity to bring a guy like Rantanen on board with his cap hit being as low as it is right now, and you have a chance to win, like, how do you pass that up? But part of me was thinking also that why would I give up a big-time prospect? Now, I'm thinking they were going to want like a Jason Robertson or something like that, you know what I mean? Which I don't know they would move on from, but maybe Dallas feels like he's topped off and maybe they would move on from a guy like him. But they weren't going to move like a Wyatt Johnston or anybody like that. But my feeling was why would you move on from any prospect when you can just get him for free? You know he wants to sign with you. Get him for free in the summer. Whatever asset you're willing to move right now, you could move to another team in the summer, get a defenseman coming back, you could get another player coming back. But I guess, hey, you want to win, so you go out and get him now. And it's funny because all these teams, the teams who know their window is open to win now, don't give two shits about first-round picks.
No.
The teams whose window is closed and they're not in position to win, they care about the first-round picks. So the Floridas, the Tampa Bays, the Dallases, all these teams, they don't care about first-round picks. Well, it means nothing to them. And the 2 first-round picks that Carolina's going to get, they'll probably end up flipping those at some point. Maybe that'll help them. Those aren't going to be high first-round picks.
Most of the time, those kids don't even turn out to be anything. Like, honestly, and it's going to take 3 or 4 years for them to even know what they are.
Right.
Like, it's a long process. People are like, get picks. Well, like I'm telling you, why wouldn't you take a couple of those picks and get a young kid that you know can just jump in your lineup?
How do you think Carolina handled this?
Not good. I was going to ask you how to grade them. I was going to give you a team and then tell me what the grade would be.
Well, I think for Carolina,
can we do that game?
Well, I don't know. That's kind of like, you know, I mean, we can do that.
We can't grade teams.
No, you can grade them.
Jesus,
grade them all you want.
But I'm asking you to grade.
Fine. But I will say for Carolina,
yeah,
and I think this is 100% on the owner too. You can talk about Eric Tulsky all you want. This guy is relatively inexperienced as a general manager. I know he's been in the game for a little bit now and certainly does a lot of things very well, from crunching numbers, and he's very smart and all that type of stuff. But you can't convince me this wasn't 1,000% driven by the owner. Just like last year, you got Rod Brindamore calling out the owner. I mean, I've never heard him coach. And you can say, well, he's calling out the GM. No. He's calling out the owner. When he says we should have found that out before we made the trade, so I can still have Marty Necas here playing on my team.
I know. Who's better than
and I could have, Drury playing on my team.
I know.
Instead, we make the trade and then ask him, do you want to sign and do you want to be here? And right when he gets there, he makes it clear to the organization in Carolina, no, I don't want to sign here. From what I hear, his family didn't want to be there. His wife didn't want to be there. There was a handful of teams that they were looking at signing with. They were already thinking and planning ahead anyway, knowing this was the last year of his deal in Colorado. If it wasn't going to get done in Colorado, they already had their eye on certain teams. Edmonton was one of them. Dallas was certainly one of them. Toronto was another one. I'm sure Vegas, I'm sure Florida, and there's a bunch of teams that they'd be willing to go to.
Just admit it. They fucked up.
But the owner, he's so involved, right?
Yeah,
he did this with Gensel last year. And when you have Rod Brindamore saying, if we would have offered Gensel the contract at the beginning that we offered him at the end, he'd still be here. So they should have come with their best offer right away. Yeah. They've been trying to nickel and dime their way through being good for a long, long time. And eventually that window's going to close too, man, because now you just wonder, from a free agent destination place, I know Carolina's a great city and whatever. I just don't think it's
it's not a city.
It's not a destination for NHL superstars to want to go to. Now, if they were to get Mitch Marner, for example, if Marner were to waive his no move or no trade or whatever to go to Carolina,
why would he?
Because on the surface, why would that make sense for Carolina to go get another rental that you don't even know is going to sign there? I guess you try to get a contract extension signed before you make that deal. I guess that's what the play would be. But if I'm Carolina, I guess they just got to assume at some point, hey, somebody's going to take our money. At some point, somebody eventually is going to take our money. Who that is remains to be seen.
I tell you what, it's not a good look. It's just not. No. And Marty Necas is doing pretty well in Colorado.
So you just traded Necas, Drury, and Rantanen for Stakehoven and 2 firsts, basically.
Man, so you set yourself back. This is like win now for that team. And a lot of guys that have been on that team for a while, that have been grinding it, and they're winning, they lose in the second round. Blah, blah, blah. Rod Brindamore, I'm thinking, we just set ourselves back. It
smells a little bit like fantasy hockey to me. Like guys who just really just trying to make decisions, thinking they really, really know what they're doing, and you got to question, do they really know what they're doing? You know what I mean?
There's only a few teams that these big dogs really want to sign with.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, how do you not ask that question beforehand? If you're going to move on from Marty Necas, and even that Drury kid, man, he's a good hockey player.
Pretty good the other night when I saw him.
He's good.
Yeah.
And, you look how Necas is fitting in, and you think about Rantanen, how he plays, who he plays with, what's led to him being so successful. Do you have those types of players in Carolina right now? Because who would be good for Mikko Rantanen to play with would be Marty Necas. Necas is a guy that likes to carry the puck. He's a pucks transporter. they don't have a whole lot of that left right now in Carolina. There's not a whole lot of those guys. So, Rantanen needs those type of players around him like he had in Colorado. And some people are saying, hey, even the way that Carolina plays, they play more of a man-to-man system. It's tough for a lot of skilled players to be able to create that time and space for themselves to be creative and use their offensive ability and their skills, the way some of these other teams do with how they play. Other people can kind of weigh in on that. I don't know how much that weighed in on it in terms of the style of play, but it was evident from the very beginning he didn't want to be there. I just don't know how you make that trade and move on from players that you have under your control. Early in the year, Necas was leading the entire league in scoring. He's having a great season. He's good. He's a good fit there. How do you make that move without finding out if Rantanen wants to stay there and be there long term?
We asked Tulsky that.
Well, we think if he's here long enough, he's going to like it because he knows Sebastian Aho.
Doesn't work that way.
Oh my God!
What do you think? What do you think of this whole Marner situation, getting that leaked out? How does that happen?
Well, Toronto had to have leaked it out. Maybe the agent did.
But if I'm
maybe the agent did for Marner. There's always the possibility of that. I don't want to point the finger at Toronto and Brad Treliving. I mean, listen, this guy's been in the game for a while. I'm not going to sit here and say that he went and told somebody or somebody in his office or on his staff went and told the media. But it did get out. It's just business. It is what it is. Listen, it's clear as day that he's not re-signing in Toronto without testing the open market. So I'm not closing the door on him re-signing in Toronto. I want to make that clear. But I think he wants to test the market first and maybe circle back and come back to Toronto. But I think he wants to see what his value is.
What do you think it is?
He's going to want something that's, well, I think he'd probably look at Matthews' deal.
Which is?
I think 13.25, right?
I'd pay him that. Pay him. Guy's good. And even if he doesn't have a great playoff, I'd still pay him that, I think.
Well, the great playoff will certainly influence how this goes.
He's just good.
If he has a bad playoff, Cam, the way he did last year, where and listen, I think he wants to get out of Toronto. He's taking more heat than all these other guys.
I don't know.
He takes a lot of heat, dude.
I know.
It's always his fault. It's never anybody else's fault. It's always his fault.
Because he's the one that might slide off in the corner and just like that kind of stuff adds up.
But the way they've built the team, they never built a team that was complementary to the offensive players. They never really had any, true stacked three pairs of defense like they do now.
Hey,
I think getting Brandon Carlo obviously
is a hard guy to play against. Especially in the playoffs.
No, listen, they're built now. Yeah. Problem is they're going to have to face Florida or Tampa Bay in the first round, and they probably won't beat either one.
Tampa's not playing around either.
And Toronto's not playing great hockey right now either. They won the game last night.
No, they got killed by Colorado.
And they were down 3-0. Oh, no, they were up 3-0 against Utah. 3-0.
Oh, yeah.
And then Utah came back and tied it up, ended up winning it in a shootout. Marner with the game winner in the shootout. So
yeah, exactly.
I listen, he answered the questions the best way he possibly could. He knew what he was going to say going into that press conference. And he just said, listen, he's here to do his thing, man. I love it.
A couple more hockey things here. I got to give my boy a shout out. Who do you think it is? Sign a big ticket. Our boy. Looks like me, but way more handsome.
Oh, man. My boy Matthew
Olivier, baby. Was
18
milli. Remember we were talking and we're like.
What I said
we're like, you're gonna get paid, dude. He's like, I'm like, dude, you're gonna get paid.
I said all along that I think he could get 3.5 in the open market. And he probably could have been.
I was surprised by that.
The 6-year deal?
Yeah. Big time surprised. Mm-hmm. He's 28. I was surprised by that, but good for you, man. Good for you.
I like seeing teams reward these types of players. And you could tell even the way he was talking on the Line situation and some of the other stuff, man, how important he is to that dressing room and that organization, man. He's a big part. He's a leader on that team.
Yeah. Good for you, buddy. You set the market, man.
And he can play. He's up to like 13 goals on the season now.
Dude, I watched him. He was out there at the end of the game. He scored an empty net goal. Like, they put him everywhere. Mm-hmm. He's a good player.
I know. They got Lukey Cunningham there now, too, man, my boy. So,
like Lukey, what's up? Love you, man. Who else shit the bed?
What do you think of Brady getting upset about Josh Norris getting traded to Buffalo? That was a hockey trade, right? I mean, you got Dylan Cousins going to Ottawa, former top 10 pick.
You get close to these guys, man. They're your best buddy on the team, and they get traded. But they're not. I wouldn't get that emotional. Like, I'm not that emotional when it comes to that stuff, unless like my cat dies or something. I'm different kind of emotion, But he's not going off to war or like he died or anything. He's just on your team.
And they didn't go to college together, so they split up. But they were best friends at the program.
Yeah.
First time I ever met Josh Norris was with Brady Tkachuk at the draft years ago, and I remember when Norris was traded to Ottawa from San Jose, how excited Brady was. And I knew right at the time when they said, hey, this trade was going down and Norris was moving on to Buffalo, that it was going to be devastating for Brady. I just wonder if this is kind of like, are we in the midst of seeing kind of the beginning of the end for Brady Tkachuk in Ottawa? I just wonder, like, if they know he's that tight with him, do they still make the deal? Do they not consult with the captain? Did he tell the organization, don't move this guy?
Did they consult with Nathan McKinnon with the Rantanen deal?
Probably not.
No, they didn't.
So, you know
it's
what I mean?
Business, man.
Hey, it's business.
Yeah, dude.
You know?
No. I'm not consulting with my fucking team when I got to do a business.
You got to make
this
a
is
move.
my job.
Yeah.
You do your job. This is what I got to do. Now we'll talk about certain things, but I got to do what I got to do.
Yeah.
So whatever with
but
that.
I tweeted something out too. I want to get your take on
But you
this.
asked me about
Hold on.
Is he leaving?
Something about Brady though. I tweeted something out a few days ago around the deadline when Ryan Reeves went on waivers.
Yeah,
That, you know, I'm watching Brady fight every night, okay?
Yeah.
And I don't think the organization wants him fighting every night.
I wouldn't.
They don't. And more often than not, he's such an elite player, it's just a bad trade-off for Ottawa, okay?
Always.
Whoever he's fighting, it's usually a bad trade-off. He's in the box for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You got this, you know, Arbor, you know, Jack guy basically threatening Brady in a way, being like, I'm looking forward to, I'm going to, whatever he said. I don't have it in front of me, the quote. You can go look it up. Almost like looking to seek retribution after what took place between Canada and USA. You know, and it's like,
you weren't a part of that.
Why should Brady have to go into games against Montreal having to fight Arbor Jackeye? That's not his fight. Get somebody else on the roster.
Didn't they have a guy
who can be a tough guy, who can take some of that pressure and some of that weight off of the shoulders of Brady Tkachuk? When are they going to do that? You know, and so I was kind of joking about, you know, Ryan Reeves being claimed off of waivers by Ottawa. He makes way too much money. No one's going to want that contract.
Exactly.
But,
so who else is there?
Well,
that could keep up.
Go trade for like a Delorier or something. I don't know.
Trade for a Delorier. I mean, okay, I don't know.
I'm just saying, there's guys out there.
Can he keep
Russ
up? He's
Johnson,
he's barely playing. I didn't even notice Ross Johnson. Matthew Olivia said he's one of the top guys in I looked his fights up. I'm like, I didn't see too much of him. I know he's a big guy. Yeah, didn't notice him the other night.
And they got Gilbert coming back from Buffalo, and I think he was just like,
whatever it is,
he's willing to kind of, you know, provide some of that leadership.
If Brady hits a guy,
I'm just curious your thoughts on that.
I agree with you. We've talked about this a million times, but is this how do you get a guy, and can he keep up with your system? Like, there's not many guys out there, but if Brady goes and runs somebody, he's gonna have to pay the piper. But if he's going out there and Jack Eye's chirping him in warmups as a sixth defenseman. And Brady, and then Brady's like, fuck, I gotta go do this. That's unacceptable. Somebody's gotta be like, get the fuck out. I'll go you. No. I'm going you.
Yeah.
Brady's got to chirp on the red line when Jack Eye's coming up to him, like patting him, like, we're going. Like, that's bullshit. If you don't have anybody to come up, like, no, we're going. I'm going you first shift. Putting the coach, hey, get me out there real quick. Let me go take care of business.
Even if you have somebody, even in the minors, that you can call
bring them up
for that, for a game or two.
Yeah, play him 4 minutes. Who gives a shit? You know, but they got to win games. So you don't want to disrupt the lineup. Your fourth line's going, and they got chemistry. You're gonna sit somebody to have a tough guy. And what if Jack Eye says no? Then the tough guy, who probably doesn't know what he's doing, is gonna run around and take a penalty and get scored on and not play the rest.
What do you make of the Jake Walman situation?
I mean, Detroit. You know, what's going on with that?
Well, dude, I think we talked about it at the time.
Yeah, we did.
What's going on with that is something was going on.
Yes,
they're not stupid.
Yeah.
They didn't just pay San Jose a second-round pick to get rid of Jake Walman, who they just committed a contract extension to, and they're paying him $3.4 million.
What'd he do?
So something, right?
What'd he do?
There was something going on. I don't know exactly what it is. I heard there was something, and I don't think his relationship with the coaching staff was the best, and there was some miscommunication on some stuff. And listen, I've known Jake for a long time, man. He came up in the Blues organization.
Yeah, I know him a little bit.
And
he's a good dude.
And he's very confident, man. He's confident in his own abilities. There's no question about that. But I reached out to him after the trade, and I talked to him for a little bit when he was in town with San Jose too, like even about coming on here and whatever. And he will eventually. But like there was stuff going on, I think, to the point where it just wasn't,
of course, man,
the right time for him to.
It doesn't make any sense because he was one of their best defensemen.
for a minute, and then he wasn't.
He was one of your top three defensemen,
and then he wasn't, right?
So you're paying to get rid of him, and he's a top three defenseman.
Correct, but
doesn't make any sense.
But they couldn't move him anywhere else. I'm surprised Edmonton. This is to my point too, like where these teams don't give a shit about first round picks. I mean, is he worth a first-round pick? I don't know. Like, I mean, honestly.
I don't know.
I mean, for them, maybe he is.
I don't know about that.
He's a skater.
But sometimes,
I mean, so everyone's in Edmonton's like, because he did have a good first game. He had a nice hit on Rantanen.
Yeah,
he was
open ice
plus
hit.
3.
Open ice
had
hit.
an assist. Played 24-40.
Yeah, okay.
He's not gonna play like that every game.
But he might not have to.
No.
But listen, some of these guys that are maybe kind of
he was -1. He played 19:59 in the second game, right?
Yeah, there it is. Well, some of these guys, man, that might kind of like disrupt a little bit. Maybe they're too loud. Whatever the case is, can go to. Like Pierre-Luc Dubois, for instance. Why is he getting bounced around? There's something going on. Then he goes to Washington, and you got the big boy, number 8, watching over all you. You're going to go stop on pucks. You're going to go do this. And now he's dominating.
Fall in line,
you fall in line. You go to Connor McDavid. You can say something to him. He's blocking shots with his face.
That's why
what are you going to do?
That's why he said, I think he did that after-hour show, and they said, hey, are we going to see the Gritty or something like that? He's like, I don't know if I'll do that here, like.
There it is. Who's saying anything to you in Detroit?
Right.
Their leader's probably like, they just come to the rink. You do that in front.
Dylan Larkin's a good leader.
Okay, but obviously there's something like there's certain guys that can control these dudes.
No, they're a different team.
That's what Lou liked to do. Lou Lamoriello liked to get the guys that kind of were a little off and then bring them in, and you're not going to do that with Lou.
But listen, even I tweeted out just kind of reminding people that Detroit gave a second-round pick to trade him to San Jose for future considerations.
It's weird.
And if anyone doesn't know what that means, future considerations means nothing.
Nothing?
It means you get nothing.
So if you're traded for future considerations.
We're just giving you away. But, it's not like Stevie Eiserman and these guys just, although they've got some work to do over there in Detroit. To do. But they're not dumb either. And there's a reason why. And I guarantee you they reached out to every team in the league trying to trade him, and they couldn't trade him.
One more thing on a deadline we'll get into.
Without giving him away, along with a second-round pick.
So the people in St. Louis that we want to reach out to, we don't talk too much Blues on here because this is worldwide stuff. I don't know how our fan base, whatever, but how do you think Army did? And do you think that was the right decision not to try to do something? I mean, there's only so much you could do.
I think it'd be fascinating to be in the room with him all day long because I guarantee you he was trying to do a lot of things.
Yeah, they were locked in.
And, he was probably close on some things and some stuff he wasn't close on. I think the injury to Colton Parayko probably changed things quite a bit, to be honest with you. I mean, there were, rumors about players like Nick Leddy, for example. I think once Parayko goes down and you look at where you're at in the standings, and I think that Anaheim game was big too. Was that the Friday night game or that was the Friday night game? The LA game before that. Yeah. That was a big game. I think if they lose that game, it could have changed things drastically too, right?
Yeah, I know.
And you happen to lose Parayko in that game too.
At the very end with that horrible ice they have in LA.
Yeah, but just buckled, man.
Yeah. People are falling all the game, by the way.
Just buckled. But and he never gets hurt. He's like indestructible.
Yeah, past 4 years he only lost
crazy.
6 games.
I know he had the back injury a few years ago, but I've seen him get his knee twisted.
Hey.
Like Gumby and just all of a sudden
pop up.
Reappear like nothing happened. But to answer your question though, I think if Parayko's healthy, then maybe we do see another move or two. Maybe a defenseman gets moved. But listen, Army can make little comments that sometimes can go under the radar, but I think they're absolutely hilarious. And
like what?
He's like, I don't know. Some of you guys probably know hockey, but it's not like we were being offered first-round picks for some of these guys.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, so I could move Suter. They never went to Suter about a trade. So
why would you move him anyway? He's solid.
Exactly. Well, again, and Parayko's out, right?
Yeah.
So they never even went to Suter. They never went to
Foxa.
They never had a deal for Foxa.
Yeah, who's unrestricted.
Sundquist, all these guys. They're just not.
What are you going to get?
They're not getting 3 first-round picks.
Here's what Army did right. You know what he did at a trade deadline? He did it a couple months ago when he got Cam Fowler. Mm-hmm. Imagine what Cam Fowler's value would have been leading up to the deadline.
God.
Are you out of your mind?
I know.
So he did this months ago. You got Broberg, you got Holloway.
Yeah.
You solidified a lot of things before chaos ensued.
And so everyone in Edmonton was saying, hey, we got to replace Broberg and Holloway, which is just, it'll go down as one of the biggest mysteries ever.
No, they tweeted out, what they
tweeted out, what they were looking for was exactly what Holloway and Broberg were.
Moving defenseman.
And so how they replaced them was with Trent Frederick and Jake Walman. That's the replacement for Holloway and Broberg.
Yeah, it's not the same.
So they had Holloway and Broberg. They let them go. They didn't match the offer sheets, and the way they replaced them was with Trent Frederick and Jake Walman. So we'll see how that plays out. And I was critical over the summertime when they were bringing on Jeff Skinner and they brought on, Arvidsson. And I said they made the decision to go with these guys over Dylan Holloway And I know Broberg's a defenseman, but still, that's the decision they made. They thought these veteran guys were going to come in and be the answer. And Dylan Holloway's better than all those guys. And, Broberg, we're not comparing defensemen here, but Broberg obviously is playing his best hockey of the season right now. He got off to a great start, but now you're starting to see that confidence come back.
Dude, Dylan Holloway's one of the best forwards on the Blues.
Sure.
Like, night in, night out, he is probably the most consistent
work
guy
ethic.
Yep.
Yeah,
Block
you know
shot,
what you're going to
nice
get from
guy.
this guy.
He is a hell of a hockey player.
But
they fucked up.
You draft this guy in the first round. He's 22. I'll never understand for the life of me how you let a 22-year-old go like that.
They messed up. They're thinking
you don't know what you have.
They're thinking of 94 Oilers, and we're winning now, and we're going to get rid of all these young kids.
You don't know what you have.
No, you do, but they wanted ready now guys to jump in the mix through the playoffs. Probably.
Are McDavid and Draisaitl not going to?
Again, you keep bringing this up.
No, I'm just saying they had a week to match. Are they not having be like, listen, this guy is so important to what we are. He's fucking good.
Was he that important to what they were at the time? No, he wasn't.
Played in every game in the playoffs, man. In every game in the Stanley Cup Final, scored some big goals for him too.
And Broberg did too in the playoffs, but I don't know.
What do you think? You're telling me they didn't know?
No, they did know, but no, they fucked up, dude. I'm not trying to make an excuse.
Come on now.
They fucked up.
And I'm not saying every captain has to have that relationship with the GM, but Connor McDavid and Sidney Crosby do.
Yeah.
Okay? Those are two that do. And when you're making moves, there are certain teams and certain players that command that type of respect where they're involved. And I would...
So Nathan McKinnon, no?
I don't know.
So one more...
I'm sure McKinnon knew where things were at with their negotiations because, Colorado did make an offer, a low offer. Then they came back with another offer. I was told the highest they got to 11.6. There's other reports out there that they got to 11.75. I don't know.
Man, I don't know. Yeah, that would rattle me if I'm Nathan.
Whatever happened to these players? And listen, I can't sit here and say that I would be any different and that I wouldn't chase the most money and whatever. Like, I don't know. Maybe I would. But I would also value being happy.
You probably would.
I would value being happy in a certain city where my family's happy.
Some people...
Where they like to live. And if they offered me 11.75 on an 8-year deal, man, I would have a hard time passing that up.
Well, no doubt, Andy. But I think depends on what makes you happy. Sometimes making the most money you possibly can makes you happier.
So he got an extra $250,000 a year.
That ain't that much.
I mean,
I don't care if it adds up.
Tax-free or not, I don't give a shit.
No, it ain't that much. To move.
Go get a couple endorsements, you'll make the money.
I mean, come on.
And to go stay with McKinnon and
come on,
McCarr.
You don't have to be that greedy. Now your life kind of turned upside down. You're in Carolina. You're miserable. Look at his face. He's not playing well. Then you got lucked out, and now you're. He got lucked out.
They bailed him out.
They bailed you out, man. Fuck, you don't need to take the extra $400,000 a year in an 8-year deal when you're making 11, 10, whatever the case is. Dude, just play and be happy. Don't move your family.
If it's a difference of $2 million a year, I get it.
Okay, that adds up, but it's not.
But you're willing to sign
it's $1 million throughout, probably.
For $12 million.
It's crazy.
To Dallas. And you're at the mercy of Carolina anyway, because you're only going to be able to sign an extension with the team that they're willing to make a trade with, that can put something on the table that they want. And obviously, the offer that Dallas made was better than the offer that Edmonton made, and better than, well, I guess Toronto had a pretty good offer on the table, but he wouldn't. Marner wouldn't waive, so that's basically. And I don't blame Marner either.
Hell no.
And I like it when these players
say no,
stand up for themselves and say no.
I bet there's a lot more of that went on. That was kind of hushed under the table.
Yeah, and certain players, it doesn't benefit them to say no because then the team can just basically like I've seen it where then they'll fuck with you. Now you're on the fourth line. Now you're in the press box. You're not playing. You're not on the power play.
They'll make your life miserable.
They'll make your life miserable, and they'll tell you that they'll make your life miserable. Yep. You're not going to make Mitch Marner's life miserable. He's too important to the team. He's too good a player.
Yeah, and he can come out and they're going to eventually, I know they rip on him, but they're going to eventually side with him, the player, over the organization when it comes to that stuff.
And I guarantee you that his teammates.
There it is.
And as good as Rantanen is.
You want to crumble that locker room?
They want Mitch Marner there for this playoff run.
Yeah, you want to crumble that locker room? You toy with your best player. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Shout out right quick to a couple American League shit kickers. Because that's why I still give out shout-outs to fucking American League boys. That fucking Alex Gallant Tyrell Bauer.
I saw that fight.
Badass fight, man. Fight of the year. Just want to give you guys a shout out. Still fucking throwing haymakers, keeping that fucking spirit alive,
Ottawa
baby.
should sign one of those
Shout
guys.
out, Alex. He'll knock you out, baby.
Just get him.
Badass dudes.
We
might have to get a couple
in
of those.
the organization.
We like those guys, man. You know, we're rooting for you. So a little shout out right there. But I did see this. It has nothing to do with hockey. And it always makes me feel an uncomfortable feeling inside. This cute girl down in Dominican Republic.
Oh, no.
Went missing. And she's down there with her friends, 20 years old, like, in Punta Cana, which there's fucking shit goes down in Dominican Republic.
Where?
Punta Cana. Dominican Republic is shady. You know what it's attached to? Do you know what country?
Nicaragua.
Exactly.
Cuba?
Yeah, Cuba.
Yeah.
Haiti. Attached to Haiti, which is the most corrupt country, one of them in the world, besides, some of the big dogs.
There's a college student missing, too.
She is missing. And I always, you know what I think of from back in the day that captured my attention for about a year, 2005, in Aruba. Remember? Natalie Holloway and Jorn van der Sloot.
Yeah.
And he admitted killing her and bashing her head open with a
Oh,
fucking
my
rock.
God.
Yes, and then taking her body and drowning her, and the current takes her away and probably never found her again.
That's terrible.
This is scary.
There's another one out there.
So
I think a
whoa.
student from the University of Pittsburgh out in Florida right now been missing for like 6 days.
Yeah, I'm just like, when you go to like you're
break,
you're
man.
on your own. It's 4:00 in the morning. She went missing. Last seen on the beach at 4:00 in the morning. She's with 5 friends. What are they doing? Where are they at? You by yourself?
You gotta stay together.
Damn it, I hate that.
You have to stay together.
I wouldn't. If I'm a parent at 20, she could do what she wants at 20, but like, they're wasted. They're on the beach. Like, you're just so fucking vulnerable, man. It just freaks me out.
I know.
It really does. I'm going to see what goes on. I don't know if there's anything that popped
new
up
developments.
Today. Yeah, so.
I'll look into that. There's another one, a student, the spring break down in Florida. Somebody's been missing for a few days too. Cam, before we get to Bill Daly, a couple things that I want to get into here.
Good news real quick. Michelle Obama's starting a podcast.
Oh, good.
So something for you to listen to.
Yeah, that'd be good.
It's about life.
Maybe Angel Reese will find her way on there.
Oh,
they can talk about the WNBA.
Is she the most out of touch person on this planet?
No.
She's
not.
Is she the most out of touch?
They need more money.
Human being.
They need more money.
This. Why don't you split the revenue?
With who?
Why don't you split the?
They don't have any revenue.
What?
They don't have any revenue.
What?
They don't have any revenue.
The WNBA?
No, they're in the black.
The best league in the. What?
No, they're not making any money.
Share the revenue. Is she dumb?
Is it in the black or in the red when you don't have any money?
Red.
Yeah, they're in the red.
Did she go to college?
LSU. I think Maryland too.
Interesting.
Actually.
Wow. She is so out of touch. It's unbelievable. Then she compares herself to. I'm more of a Jordan type of player.
Hey, she's like.
I don't mean to chirp.
She says we're gonna sit out.
Unbelievable.
So she's on this podcast with this other girl, right? And the other girl, her dad played in the NFL, but she said something like, "Everyone thinks that." They're complaining about the way that, her hair and her nails and all this stuff. And she goes, people complain that the WNBA is too manly, we're too aggressive, we all date each other, when that's just not the truth. And the girl that she is doing the podcast with is dating one of her teammates or something like that. So nothing wrong with that. But I'm just saying, that is happening at the time. Well, she's saying that doesn't happen, but she's talking to somebody, the exact situation that she finds herself into. But she did say that CBA is coming up, and they're willing to sit out games, and I would hate to see that because I'm getting the package once again.
Who are the owners of this?
Who
are the owners? Like, what other company?
Who owns the teams?
What other company in history would have a 30-year run, 30-year run, and never make a profit?
Is it 30 years?
1996.
That's when the WNBA started?
Yep.
And they've never made money.
Nope.
You think that?
Who are the owners?
And
what
I
are you
mean
thinking?
this in all seriousness. I bet you some teams have made money, or no?
No.
You don't.
No.
The Indiana Fever doesn't make money.
I don't. They lost $30 million, $50 million last year. Now there's other.
How much did they lose the year before Caitlin came into the league?
They're losing money.
Because she's the one who, and I don't know when they're going to have somebody as popular.
That'll
as her,
add up, but
right?
every other teams when they play, even Angel Reese doesn't really draw too much.
No.
If you look at her,
Caitlin does, though.
Caitlin does. So, but she'll say otherwise. Of course, Angel. And I don't mean to pick on her because
well,
she's
she's
loud.
The girl that Angel Reese does her podcast with, and they've got great content on there. I mean, they get into a lot of good storylines. WNBA.
Michelle Obama's doing a live podcast with her brother. It's riveting.
Former head coach of Princeton, I believe.
Really?
Basketball coach. Or maybe Oregon State, maybe both.
I know.
But regardless, the girl that Angel Reese, is it Angel or is it Angel?
No. Okay.
She's got a great post game, there's no doubt. She's playing that 3-on-3 game. She had an inbounds pass the other day that hit the back of the backboard.
That was awesome.
She was playing, she had a great one-on-one battle going on with my girl,
Don't care.
Brittany. And they were going at it, but
make your point.
No. So
what?
The girl that she's doing the podcast with, God, what was I going to say? I just lost my train of thought.
Who cares about that?
I don't know about that. I know about that. There's something else though. God, it'll come back to me in just a minute. I lost my train of thought.
Anyway, it's all about it. She's just so loud. I just don't understand how she's so out of touch with reality. What's going on with that business? And she wants, what are you going to do? How much money do you want? She says she wants to get paid like the NBA.
She can't pay her bills with her WNBA money. They don't need to pay her bills.
That. But then now LeBron is so annoying too. Like, holy fuck. Like it's unbelievable. And Stephen A. Smith, who I like. I do like him. Mm-hmm. He's a smart guy. Now he wants to get into politics. He's going to run for president and blah, blah, blah.
I think he sounds dumb sometimes when he talks sports. He can actually sound smart sometimes when he's talking, when he's on The View.
You're going to, Stephen A. Smith, you're going to run for president and deal with Xi fucking Ping and fucking Putin, and you go up, LeBron has to come up to you and slap your little wee-wee around because you were fucking telling the truth about his billionaire son who's in the NBA.
His
heiress. And you can't criticize his son, so LeBron sits your ass down and you go on a podcast and basically say, I shouldn't be talking about anybody's kid, and you're going to run the country? Get the fuck out of here.
I don't think he just signed a big ticket with ESPN, $100 million.
But it's just funny how you say, I can run for president, and you can't even stick up to LeBron James about something you're 100% right about. Mm-hmm. Yeah, go talk to fucking Kim Jong-un.
But he's like, that was coming from a father.
Don't give
a fuck. He was
a
father. I'm like, what are you talking about? You're talking about he's playing in the NBA, dude. Like
doing?
There's a lot of NBA players that have kids that are coming up that are going to be in the NBA soon. Apparently, Carmelo Anthony's got a kid coming up.
You can't criticize NBA players.
Gilbert Arenas has a kid coming up. Carlos Boozer's got those twins that are going to Duke. Like he's got a bunch of NBA players who are going to have kids playing in the league very soon. And are they all off limits? Because you can't say anything about him.
Yeah, baby.
I mean, this guy signed an $8 million, which is unheard of for like the 55th overall pick or the 56th overall pick, whatever he was, to sign a $8 million 4-year deal, right? I think it was 7.9 was the total. That is unheard of. You don't see anyone who's getting picked and with that selection getting that type of contract. And we're being too hard on Bronny. He should have stood up for himself. He looked weak.
Run for president.
You can tell Charles Barkley and these guys have no interest in even going over there. They're calling out ESPN already before they even get there.
The thing is, Stephen A. Smith had better polling numbers than a lot of top Democrats that might be running for president. They're in a spiral right now.
Oh, my God.
They're in a spiral.
But you see what Charles Barkley said, though, about like ESPN and everything.
I heard that guy. What's the dude's name?
Kendrick Perkins.
Yeah, he gets racial all the time.
Well, he threw out his area code, dude. That's like when shit's getting for real. Because like when I get upset with somebody, I'll be like, dude, I'm from the 314. I'm from the double C.
Here's my address. Come find me.
No, I'll be like, I'm from the double C, Creve Coeur.
Creve Coeur.
So don't
bunch of toughies up there.
Well, so don't mess with me because I'm from Creve Coeur. So do not mess with me. I'm from the 314.
You're gonna fight Charles Barkley.
He's like, I'm from the 908. What's up? Come find me. I'm like, oh my God. Did you just tweet that out? All these basketball analysts and all these analysts that are like on ESPN, they're like tweeting and fighting. It's like high school with these guys.
It's like radio wars.
Would you ever like go to social media to like voice your grievances with another person?
I don't even mess with it.
I'm so uncomfortable even reading about it.
I'll call you. And I'll talk to you, and we'll set up a meeting.
I'm from the 908. Come find me.
Tough guy. He's a tough guy.
Charles Barkley's like, I don't give a shit about you.
Nerd.
He's like, I'm coming to save your stupid-ass network. I'll get your ass thrown out of there.
Your pussy network.
Yeah. And then and Stephen A's trying to kiss their ass. I love y'all and whatever, blah, 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 and all this stuff.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, it's just...
I hope they come on to ESPN and just take over, dude. Just like Pat McAfee's done. They don't like him, though.
He's not allowed to go to the draft now.
No, the Combine. What was that all about?
I thought he's not allowed to go to the draft.
I thought it was the Combine.
He got trouble at the Combine, I thought. He got mistreated.
Yeah,
and then that's why he's not going to the draft.
Who makes that call?
Don't know.
Like, the NFL's got to love him, right? He brings a lot of attention to the NFL.
He's your number one guy. It's like Biz.
It's not ESPN messing with him.
That's like the hot NHL going to Biz and saying you can't come to the draft or at this huge event. He's your number one marketing guy by 10,000 miles.
By a billion.
I mean, it's his birthday. Happy birthday, Biz, by the way.
Happy birthday,
Happy 40th,
Biz.
homie.
Big shout out.
You look good, man.
He's 40, huh?
Mm-hmm. He looks good.
Yeah, so there's now reports out there. I think Biz is reporting it, actually, about Brad Marchand. He won, the team offered 6.3. He wanted 7.5. They couldn't meet somewhere in the middle. But you know what? The way Brad Marchand handled it, I'll say this real quick. When his career is done, if he wants to go back and work with the Bruins organization, if he wants to,
yeah,
he's handled himself so well. Like he didn't burn any bridges there. You know what I mean?
No, not at all.
So I think sometimes that's a lesson. Don't go too crazy. And you know what? You're in Florida, man. You're with a team that obviously is going to be considered a heavy favorite, probably, if not certainly one of the top favorites to win the Stanley Cup. So we'll see how healthy.
Never burn bridges in life. Even if you're a big dog, it could always come back and bite you in the ass. Just take the slow route. If you need to make your point on something later on, then do it. But you go out bashing, it looks bad for everybody, other company that wants to hire you, and B, you just got to swallow it sometimes.
One trade we didn't get into was Brock Nelson. He is 33. He's in the final year of his deal. They got a couple first-round picks, or at least I think they can choose if it's a 26 or 27 first-rounder or whatever it is. He scores a lot of goals, man. He's got 30-plus goals in each of the last 3 years. He kind of goes about it quietly. Doesn't get a ton of attention. I don't think anybody does with the New York Islanders. Gets a lot of attention. No. But we'll see. I think this is going to be an opportunity for him to kind of spread his wings a little bit and for people to truly identify how good this guy is.
I don't mean to be like a negative guy, but I feel like he's the type of guy that you get and he does nothing.
Okay. I could see that.
I don't mean to be like
you're just expecting it because he's got this resume, but you really don't know what you're getting.
He's just invisible.
It's almost like Jake Walman. I hate to say it.
Or like a Drew when he came.
But I'm not. It's like, do these teams really watch? Like, why couldn't Kevin Lankinen get a contract this summer? Do they not watch? Do teams truly watch the rest of the league?
Yeah.
Do they know the players? As certain organizations are better than others, and you're not going to hit a home run and be right on every single player that you acquire.
No.
You're not going to win every trade. You're not going to win every free agent signing. I get it. But Edmonton, they had a need, and they had a need because they gave up Philip Broberg, so now they're giving up first-round picks to go get Jake Walman. On the surface, based on how we see trades made traditionally, Jake Walman is not worth a first-round pick. He's played fine in San Jose.
But sometimes when you have a gap to fill, you want to, and you're right there, you roll the dice.
You just roll it.
Just say, let's try it.
And they don't care about their first-round picks. Their window to win is open now.
Now you got to do everything you can,
And they haven't been playing great hockey.
Edmonton, no. If you look at the last 10, it's,
you know
what I mean? You look at some of these, I always look at a goal differential too, for some of these teams that are like on the...
Yeah, in the red.
In the red. Big time red.
Yeah.
Minus 18, stuff like that. And they're creeping in. Like, that just shows a little bit that you're not there.
LeBron went Will Smith on Stephen A. Keep my son's name out your mouth.
How about the Will Smith thing? Like that just shows how pussy Hollywood is. You let a guy assault your fucking host, and then he wins an award. Doesn't even go to jail. He wins an award.
I heard
Chris Rock is like, fuck you cuckold.
I heard Chris Rock had some badass motherfuckers with him too at that event. Who could have gone and
I just want to fucking assault you, and then he wins an award and they all clap while he's crying. You pussy, God.
They were like trying to console him.
Pussy. I have no respect.
He called her G.I. Jane.
That's why when somebody told me I cuss too much on here, I'm like, you probably listen to Will Smith rap album. I'm not catering to you. Catering to shit kickers, fucking grinding.
Who said that recently? Somebody did.
Like,
you cuss too much.
And I know how to not cuss, man. I could do it on a broadcast. I just don't care on here.
Firstform.com/Camus. Right? Yeah. No, it's not that you don't care on here. It's that it's allowed.
Yeah.
That's the difference. I mean, you're not allowed to cuss in certain platforms.
I don't,
But on this platform, you're allowed to.
When you're with your kids in a car, like I don't want your kids listening.
Yeah.
Like, no offense. Like, I don't. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Sorry. I can't be like, oh, kids are listening. I got to watch. It's like, we got to think everybody else.
Talk to the kids right now.
We love the kids. We love the kids. Tampa doesn't. F them kids.
What do you mean?
Well, the draft picks.
Oh, yeah. They don't have a first-round pick from like 2028 or something.
Got to win again. You got the goal.
But
you got
they
the
don't care. Do you have a problem with what they're doing?
Nope. Not at all.
Neither do I.
And if I'm a fan there, I'm like, I love it.
I asked the question. Of course, and Pronger chimed in.
Of course he did. What did he say?
On my tweet. I just asked the question, do people have a problem with the way they, whatever I said about, just trading away all their first round. He's like, Andrew, why would they? I'm like, dude, I'm not giving my opinion one way or another. I'm asking the question. I want to hear from the people. It was late the night before the trade deadline. Let's just get some conversation going.
Tampa has leeway to do what they want. You won. You've been successful for a long, long time. Sometimes you have to gamble and try to win again. And then you might have to regroup, and it's going to take a couple years. But you know what? You got recent Stanley Cup wins, so you have leeway to make bold moves and not look at the future at this exact point with that organization.
Okay,
think about it.
Yeah,
if I'm the fan, I'm like, no, go for it. We still have it. Still a really good nucleus at this organization, in this team. You still got the goalie. You still got some guys up front. You got Coochie. You got fucking Hedman.
Who?
Coochie. Win now. F them kids. Coochie. So.
Who wins a first-round series between Tampa Bay and Toronto?
Man, oh, man.
Tampa Bay's playing unbelievable right now.
Man, oh, man, Andy.
They're not losing.
It might boil down to the goaltending.
And Toronto's not playing great hockey right now. They had a tough road trip.
They're letting a lot of goals.
I know.
They're still pretty loaded, though, man. I'm not going to count them out with Berube playoff hockey. I don't know. Do they got the horses up front, meaning the playoff horses, not the regular season? I mean, playoff going to hardcore areas. Like, I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know.
They're loaded. They're skilled. Is that good enough?
They're like criticizing Scott Lawton already because he was like,
what?
Had a bad first game. He was like -2 or something. And like, it's one game, guys. You know?
Hey, you're Toronto, dude.
I know.
And then
it's just like the same thing in Edmonton. Walman had one, and I love Walman. Don't get me wrong. He's a great skater. You know what I'm saying? But like, they think they're getting like Bobby Orr or something. Like after the first game, the way they like react to it, it's just so funny.
I don't mean, but Peelsy was sure.
Leah Hextall.
Oh, poor Leah. Like, I feel bad for her, which is she screwed up. And if you really go back and listen to stuff you say on the radio, you do a 3-hour show, you do this, like, you mess up, man. Like, even if you had the right notes and you said the wrong part, but he goes out and says she needs to be fired immediately. I'm like, man, call for somebody to be fired. I don't know if I like that at all. In fact, I don't like that because you messed up. Dude, I could be fired every fucking day.
Right.
And then she came out with a rebuttal.
Oh, and she did?
Yeah.
What'd she say to him?
Yes, on
What'd
Twitter.
she say? I didn't see her rebuttal.
It was really classy and a little dig too. She goes, about being fired.
Oh.
Yeah. I love Peelsy. I just don't think it's a good look, man. Like, we chirp Andrew Reese. I don't give a fuck. Leah Hextall isn't acting like a cocky, like she's.
No, she made a mistake.
She made a mistake. I don't know. I got to stick up for women here and there, so that's what I'm going to stick up for this time. I got to balance it out a little bit. I don't want anybody getting pissy poo.
Talk about First Form.
God, I love First Form. Actually, First Form helped me get healthy again. Now my wife's sick, so she's taking the vitamins. She's doing all this. We put protein shakes, all this fresh fruit that we mix together with all kinds of different stuff with what we get with First Form. And I'm actually wearing their shirt right now, and it's going to be summertime coming up here, baby. I got my beef sticks. They got it all. Check it out, firstform.com, man. Look up all their stuff they have. Check out their app. They'll teach you how to work out. They'll tell you what to eat. I mean, it's really cool, man. They'll keep you organized with your health. That's First Form. That's why Andy's in here today. Because Andy gets the damn sniffles. He's gone for 2 weeks. So good thing First Form was around, and they got vitamins and made him healthy again.
I'm very sick.
And
I'm starting to get a little...
What are you looking at? Let's go.
I'm looking for Leah Hextall's comment.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Firstform.com/Cam and Strick. Get those hydration sticks and get them today. Send us your order, and we will automatically throw you in there for a surprise package from First Form. Great everything, from the apparel to the greens and the fruits, man, which is keeping me through this, Cam. It's just helping me, along with my soup that I've discovered.
You already talked about.
Ancient Asia land, where they save lives.
Want me to read the quote real quick?
Yeah.
Okay, here's Peelsy's quote. Just to verify everything, and it is.
And her quote.
Leah Hextall just said on ESPN that Scott Laughton would be playing in the playoffs for the first time in his career. Laughton played games in 2016, 18, and 2020 playoffs. He has 24 playoff. Hold on. God damn it. Oh, if she actually said that. Oh, yeah. So somebody said that. And then he reposted. Yeah. And he goes, if she actually said she should be fired. This is absolutely embarrassing for @ESPN. Maybe do some research and homework on the game you are calling. Jesus.
You don't read very well.
I don't read no good, no how. Okay. Okay. Tim, the fact was told to me in the moment by our team, who is almost always right. As a retired official, you should understand mistakes can be made. No issue with you not liking my question, your opinion. I do take exception to you questioning my preparation and work ethic. Best. I thought that was classy. And she
did he respond?
Don't know.
But her team did give her that information.
Yeah. Well, she did throw her
team
on.
Well, then maybe Pilsy should say whoever on your team should be fired.
I don't like that though, man. I don't want people.
We don't want
fired.
anyone getting fired.
Because if I say something like, fire him. He's making fun of women.
No, like in television, you're reading off of like graphics and stuff that you just you automatically always trust that they're accurate.
Yeah. So it's all good. No big deal.
Golly.
I know.
Listen, I brought this chair in. I think you can see it. Aiden, can we see the chair? You can see the chair.
Look at that bad boy.
This is from True Float. We showed you the
coolers.
We showed you the coolers the last couple of days.
Cooler.
Last couple shows. This is the heated chair, man. There's a little pocket right yonder, right here.
Yeah, put your.
You can put your little charger in there, a little battery pack, keeps you nice and warm out by the fires.
Yeah,
and soccer games and whatever else you're doing outside during the upcoming spring weather when it gets a little chilly at nighttime. This thing and it just folds right up into that bag. Show that bag.
Here's the bag right here.
Look how nice. Look how the quality of that bag is just unbelievable.
And our logo is really hard to like.
I know, and they put our logo right on there. Yeah. So if you have a company or whatever logo you want on your chair, and look, even on the pocket, man.
Your baseball team, look at your softball team where you could chill, people could watch, and you could have your logo on it.
Put your logo on there.
And then a cooler, you bring a cooler.
Dude, if you're a fan of the Montreal Canadiens and you want that on there or something
Team
like
USA,
that,
whatever.
Maybe they can do that for you too.
Yep.
And these are high quality, dude. They're better than what?
Than Yeti, bunch of pussies. Okay. I'm telling you, this is where the shit kicker. This is Alberta shit kicking right here.
That's right.
These guys are from gosh dang Alberta, doing their thing, baby. Yeti. Bunch of pussies.
Say Yeti.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you say?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, their coolers are unbelievable, though. They've got the all the mugs and everything, too, man. I should have brought some of those.
I got one.
You got one?
Yep.
Show the people.
Right yonder.
They put the logo on there, dude.
Yep.
You can have your logo on the cooler. We've done that. We showed you. True Float out of Alberta, baby. TRU Float.
Yeah, baby.
Welcome aboard. True Float.
Yeah.
Hat Launch and hatlaunch.com, baby.
Look at this. Got the white one on today. Cam and Strick, our new little logo. Pretty badass. I love it. They got all kinds of
We got some new stuff we're doing with them coming up too, man.
Yeah.
They are. We'll be doing a lot more stuff on social media and different things with our friends over there at Hat Launch. So, you know, Danny and Jordan, all the boys over there, man.
Yeah, they do a damn good job. Again, if you have a hockey team, soccer team, baseball team, you want to get hats for them. You
Business,
have a bowling,
restaurant.
Bowling. You own a restaurant. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's so many different variables.
Yes.
Go to Hat Launch. They'll take care of you. They'll get it ship shape. Boom. Send it right out to you. Boom.
And I know a lot of players listen here too, like people in the minors and stuff like that. Junior player. If you had like if you're on the London Knights, man, we'll give Dale Hunter a shout out because he just got his 1,000th win, man.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Dale Hunter. You wanted to get Dale Hunter hats to have 1,000 on them, like the Blues did for Braden Shen. You know, you go to Hat Launch, man. They'll make these hats. They'll turn them around for you so quickly. I think the coach at Notre Dame has got a 600th win, something like that, man. You want to get T-shirts or something made to honor a
birthday party
achievement like that. Dude, they'll turn these hats around so quick, man. They love hockey. They'll talk hockey with you, too. So, again, check out Hat Launch and do that today. All right, Blue Note Roofing, man. They are the best.
I talked to David yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah.
About your flower boxes?
Yeah, I said, just bring out a kid to help.
Yeah,
if he wants to make extra money, that's all.
Okay.
I got to get this done.
I mean, I tell Cam every week, roofing, gutters, soffit, fascia, and flower boxes for this guy.
Yeah, but I think that, I said, dude, don't worry about it. I'm just wanting to go to you first. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I don't want to be
he'll be able to take care of you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's the best. Dude.
Yeah, I know.
He's
totally cool. I'm going to talk hockey with him.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome. David Novak. Look for that yellow truck with the blue notes all over it.
Storms are coming
in the area.
And I told you guys this before, and actually they're going to hit this Thursday. Remember you asked me how long it's till tornadic action is going to happen?
Tornadic.
I said about a couple weeks.
Tornadic.
A couple weeks are happening right now. Things are getting a little crazy in the atmosphere. We're going to have some big-time storms coming this Thursday when we got to do that thing way out in St. Charles.
Soffit and fascia.
Fascia.
It's coming
David
Thursday?
Novak. Yeah.
When we have to go out there?
Yes. I know.
We are doing something Thursday. It's like a Manning cast, but it's
Simulcast,
like a hockey game we're watching. We don't really know exactly what it is or what we're doing.
Like a Manning cast.
Yeah, it's like a Manning cast.
Playing the Pittsburgh Penguins, so it's a 6 o'clock game.
Oh, yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
I don't know why I was thinking Nashville.
No.
Yeah, Pittsburgh on Thursday, and then they go to Minnesota.
Yep.
So tune in. We'll give you some information on how to tune in and check that out too.
For you guys.
For the Manning cast coming up with Cam and I and a few other special guests.
Yep.
We're looking forward to that. No question about it. All right, Illinois Recovery Center, Cam.
I'm going there tomorrow.
Thank you.
I know. Well, the last couple times
you've canceled a couple times.
No, Chrissy canceled because he didn't want me driving out there. Yeah, we got rocked by snow. So I'm going out there tomorrow.
Do you need me to give you a ride, or are you good?
No. And get my vertigo back? God. Andy's the worst driver in the league. The worst. It's unbelievable. And I worry about him, too, actually. Especially when he's sick and he's driving fast. You better slow down. You better slow down.
I can't even see straight right now.
Exactly.
My chest is burning.
I'm going to Illinois Recovery Center. It's right there in Swansea,
Someone
Illinois.
bring me some Tom Yum soup.
Jacob Miller, Eric Conley, my boy Chrissy Pondoff. They run the show over there in Swansea, Illinois. They're here to help you or anybody you know that has an addiction problem. You talk to them. They'll deal with all the bullshit stuff, the insurance and all that. They got a very comfortable bed waiting for you, and they want to help you. That's the difference. They want to help you. That's the Illinois Recovery Center in Swansea, Illinois. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to me, Chrissy, whatever. You can look it up online.
You pointed to me, but you didn't. Like, people are listening. Not everybody's watching. So start that part over.
What if they're like, Andy, God, man, I'm really doing bad with this. What should I? How should I do this, that, and that?
You know what I would say?
What?
I'm going to get you in touch with Chrissy at Illinois Recovery Center.
Or Jacob. Or
Eric.
Like, they're the coolest
people.
What
would I do? Of course I know.
I'm just asking.
What would I do?
You'd probably ignore them for about 2 days, and then, you know.
Okay.
I don't do that. I get right back to them.
No, I would get right
back to them.
Who are you talking about?
People that message me all the goddamn time.
You don't get back to them very quickly.
Yes, I do.
That's not what I hear.
By who?
From a lot of people.
What'd they ask me?
They say that you don't ever respond.
Get out of here. I respond to everybody. I do.
Illinois Recovery Center.
I try to. Illinois, right there in Swansea, Illinois.
Hell yeah, baby.
All right.
Cam at Bellman, you get
Swinging dicks. Troy, Missouri.
Buick GMC on one side of the street. On the other side is Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Cam's looking at that pink Jeep. 2 doors. Small wheels.
I'm always going to drive a truck, baby.
Soft top.
Always going to drive
Flames on the side. There's nothing wrong with that.
I'd get a Buick, too.
Yeah, or a GMC or a Chrysler Dodge or a Ram.
They run good, man. Those Buicks run good. Dang good.
Hell yeah.
Dang good. So, Troy, Missouri. No swinging dicks. I told all y'all that before.
But they do have sushi and flavored water, which they'll give you.
You're not creative in that way, are you?
What are you talking about?
It's just...
people...
No. Because
people love it.
It's not creative.
And people tell me that all the time.
The swinging dick thing is actually a real life...
They give you sushi and flavored water. They give it to you. Yeah, they do.
But it's not funny.
Explain...
You're a type B personality.
Explain what the swinging... What is that?
Type B personality. You just don't have that creative aspect.
Oh, dude, I got a creative mind. It's the left side of my brain. Very creative.
What has stuck so far?
Huh?
Go ahead.
What has stuck?
Yeah.
A lot of things.
Like what?
Oh, well, there's been a lot of things.
Name one. Type B is what he is.
Oh, God. Such an insult.
But a swinging dick is what you get at some of these Hoosier-ass fucking places.
Car dealers.
Or these motherfuckers come out there and your wife's trying to buy a car and they're swinging their dick around, bragging about what they did in football 15 years ago, and it's just uncomfortable, and your girl gets in her car and leaves, and you lose business. Because they're swinging their dick around. Brad, fucking football. Was that Cam? I used to kick his ass. No, you didn't. I don't even know who you are. That stuff.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
Yeah. That's
sushi and flavored water. Who the fuck's going to eat that?
A lot of people will.
No, they won't.
Oh, sure they will.
No, they won't. You know.
How dare you? How dare you?
I'm just saying. It's all right. Not everybody can be type A.
All right, Bill Daly's coming up, so I'm sure we'll hear from everyone about what we didn't ask.
Yeah, no
I hope you enjoyed what we did ask.
It's all good.
Bill Daly, Deputy Commissioner of the National Hockey League on the Cam and Strick podcast, baby. Enjoy.
Yo.
The Cam and Strick podcast is brought to you by First Form, baby. Use our link and do it today. www.firstform.com/Cam and Strick.
Get jacked now. They are the real deal.
Get that protein, check out the apparel, eat those bars, and drink those energy drinks. Firstform.com/Cam and Strick.
Yeah.
Now on to the interview. Are you ever like, hey, listen, everyone at the office, we're going to move to Nashville, okay? So we can just have a 15-minute commute.
Yes.
Get out of New York City. We're going to leave New York City. We're moving the offices to Nashville, Tennessee.
Only when I don't expect traffic do I get frustrated. Like Wednesday, since COVID happened, Wednesdays kind of everybody goes to work on Wednesday. It's the only day that everybody goes to work. So it's always long on Wednesday. So I expect it.
That's interesting.
Like, what's your day? It's a busy day. Like, what time do you get up? Like, what's your routine like?
Well, it changes a little bit. I've got a 15-year-old son who's a freshman in high school, and he plays football, and they have lifting every day at 6 a.m. at the high school. So I get up, I bring him, I come back to the house, I do about a 45-minute workout, and then I leave for the office around 7 o'clock, usually in by 8:15, worst case, and then leave, depending on what's going on, leave around 7 at night. So it's a long day.
Are you watching the games? Like, do you feel like you have to watch the games?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I like watching the games. Sometimes, some nights I want to get away from it, so I won't even put it on. I'll just follow it on my phone. But like last night, I watched until kind of the final horn in Utah, because good slate of games last night.
Who's your favorite team to watch right now? Not your favorite player. I'm not saying you favor one team over the next, but like if they're on, you're watching.
I would say Edmonton until the last 3 games. I think they're fun to watch. I think Florida's fun to watch. Washington, I can't believe how successful they've been, but they're fun to watch only because I think it's unexpected. Not so much last night.
What about your favorite rink?
Good question. Minnesota is a great rink.
Whoever has the best food in the box.
Yeah.
Vegas is a good. I mean, they all have food in boxes. Some are better than others.
Yeah.
Vegas is a great rink. I mean, it's a different vibe, different environment. Madison Square Garden, I think all our players, if you took a poll around the league, their favorite arena to play in, just because it's the Garden, is Madison Square Garden. It's still special environment there.
You get to sleep in your own bed too, and it is special.
Yeah.
There's nothing like MSG.
Yeah.
When you guys were first talking about Vegas, because you guys are the trendsetters, now you have other sports flying into Vegas, and the players love living there. But did you think it would work? I mean, did you think it would be this successful? I guess you just never know. But man, it's so different there compared to every other market. You just can't compare it to anything else.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, we didn't know for sure. What we thought was important when we made the Vegas decision was that there was going to be local support. That's what we didn't know. I mean, there were going to be casinos who bought up tickets and gave them to customers, and that would have been okay on the revenue side. Wouldn't have been great for a franchise, right? So we needed to know this team was going to have local support. That's why we let them go to the marketplace and kind of take the season ticket deposits. And that's what's special about this team is, 80% of the building every night are season ticket holders who live in Vegas and work in Vegas and consider themselves Vegas people. So much different than the Raiders, right? You go to a Raider game there, it's a whole bunch of people flying in from out of town for the weekend to take in a Raiders game. That's not true for the Golden Knights. The Golden Knights have their own fan base. The Vegas-born tagline really applies to them. And they really take pride in connecting with the community it's been a real success story for sure.
Yeah, that's their team. There's no
No
doubt.
doubt. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Vegas. I mean, the Raiders. That's not Vegas's team. You know, the Raiders, man. You think about the Raiders; they've been around for obviously forever. But you got what did you get? $500 million for that expansion from Vegas.
That's
I mean,
correct.
We may have to revisit that. I mean, like Bill Foley may have to give you a couple more. It's like Seattle comes in, they spend more. I mean, you never know how it's going to go, but it's been so successful. Now everyone's got to like compare themselves to Vegas. You probably could have gotten $1 billion from them, Bill, if you had to go back and do it over again.
At the time, the $500 million was probably more than we ever sold a franchise for.
No doubt.
So, or that a franchise ever changed hands for. So it was. We've come a long way since then. You're right, and we charged more for the Seattle franchise, and now, the asking price is in the 4 times what we got from Vegas.
What is the asking price?
It's in that $2 billion range.
$2 billion?
Yeah.
Wow. And then all the owners split that up, or does that go to you and Gary? Like for your PJ or what?
That helicopter, so you don't.
I wouldn't see you tomorrow. I'd be on some Caribbean island. It gets split 32 ways.
Wow.
That's not fair. So Vegas did not get to participate in the Seattle expansion franchise. That was part of their deal. So that's split 30 ways, but technically, it gets divided among the existing franchises.
You're gonna get like a new owner who like spends $2 billion to come into the league, but then they can't afford to get to the floor because they spent all their money to come into the league.
We hope that's not the case.
Oh,
no, you know what? It's expensive to play professional sports these days, right? And it's not only the franchise price. You got to have a state-of-the-art arena. Yep. Those go for about $1 billion. So you got to be in for maybe $3.5 billion to get a team up and running.
100%.
I tell you what, if you look at the NHL right now, you figure it's in a really good spot. I mean, the 4 nations, you got Ovi chasing records, you got superstars all over the place. I know some of the TV viewership was down. I read an article about that. That could be for a bunch of different reasons, but as a whole, the NHL is pretty solid right now, right?
Yeah, no, we're happy with where we are. I mean, we're coming off a season which probably was our best season from both a business perspective, but also a competitive perspective ever last year. So it's tough to kind of improve on that. So that's why I don't think there's any real concern with what our ratings have been. That's a variety of factors play into that. We're not the only sports league that's suffering from that this year. And quite frankly, we've had really good ratings coming out of the 4 Nations face-off tournament. We're heading into the real exciting part of our season, right? With the trade deadline a week away, and then the races for the playoffs, which are great in both conferences. We're in a really good spot. Obviously, I was very, very bullish on 4 Nations being really successful, just because the quality of the players and the skill and the depth of those 4 franchises was pretty apparent just looking at the rosters, right? So I knew it was going to be, quality-wise, the best on best tournament we've ever had. But nobody could have expected the success it got, and that the socio-political stuff going on around it certainly helps. But it was off the charts successful. So it was really, really good. This weekend, I don't want it to fall off the radar screen. We have an outdoor game in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah.
We're going to have more than 90,000 people in the Horseshoe to watch hockey in Columbus. Who would have thunk that 20 years ago? I got off I spoke to Don Waddell last night on a variety of other matters, and he said the buzz there is unbelievable. It's a college, typically a college town. But the student body and everybody there is really, really excited for this game. So that'll be good. You're right. We have Ovi chasing. He's down to 12 goals he needs to get past it. It looks like he's determined to do it. I looked at his hockey DB last night because I couldn't really believe it. He has scored 30 or more goals every season of his career except the COVID shortened season. I mean, it's incredible.
3,000 hits too.
I know, man.
Think about that.
He is. It's crazy. I hope he doesn't ever leave. I mean, he may get to 1,000 goals. You just never know what that number is going to look like. You know, it's really insane. But Columbus, man, I feel happy for Columbus. They've been through so much. I love watching them play. We talk about teams that you like watching play. You know, they may not be a cup contender, but they've got some real good young players. But the NHL, man, you came in, around 2005. And, like, listen, I had a boss at the time telling me, like, if you want to cover the NHL, you're going to have to go somewhere else, you know, and the Blues end up winning a Stanley Cup years later. Hockey's never been more popular here in St. Louis than it is right now. So, I mean, the growth of the game, I mean, you couldn't have seen this, right, in 2005 when you consider where you guys were at coming out of that lockout. I mean, who would have thought you guys would get to this
I actually
point?
became deputy commissioner in 2005. I actually got here in 1997.
96.
So I've kind of seen it. I've kind of seen it in all different phases until kind of where we are. And you're right. I mean, for the first 8 years, we were trying to stay afloat, really, for lack of a better term. A lot of franchises in trouble, a lot of ownership issues. And, you know, a lot of the league office's time, quite frankly, the commissioner's time was spent essentially saving franchises and trying to keep things together and make it work. Obviously, the year-long work stoppage, nobody wanted that. Not really good for business generally, but it was necessary in our case, and we were able to negotiate a system with the Players Association that kind of works for everybody, I think. And it took the players and the Players Association a while to kind of adjust to kind of the new environment. But I will tell you, probably, and obviously we have a great relationship with the current Players Association leadership. Marty Walsh has been great. But I'd say for the last 10 or so years, the players get it now, right? The players get the fact that they should be doing everything cooperatively with us to raise the profile of the sport, raise the popularity of the sport, because it just, it drives revenues. And they get half those revenues. So it's everybody pulls in the same direction. The system works.
Yeah, I knew that you were there in 1995, by the way, because you had your attorney background, and then you're the first ever deputy commissioner. So whose idea was that to make you a deputy commissioner? Do they have that in other sports too, or no?
They do. I don't know whose idea it was. We look the. I don't like to even think back to those days, but when we had a year-long lockout, we actually we let go kind of half, probably 60%, 65% of the league office personnel-wise. So, I was, there was only a couple of us doing that negotiation, and we had to do other things too at the time because obviously we still have a operating business even though we weren't playing games. So. My role just expanded in connection with that work stoppage, and I think Gary recognized that.
Well, it helped to have Ovi and Sid come out of that 2005 lockout and start
100%.
dominating.
Yeah,
no, it was
very, very, very helpful. They obviously drafted in different years, but Ovi drafted a year before Sid. But Ovi wouldn't been able at the time to get out of his Russian contract, so they would have entered the same time anyway. But having them launch kind of a new era for the NHL, we had the rule changes. We had the entire slate of rule changes coming back for 2005, 2006. We got off to a fast start, and we've grown since then for sure.
Hey, listen, the Four Nations, you're right. Getting back to that, I mean, I didn't think it was going to be that successful, Bill. To be honest, I didn't really know what it was. It was like kind of like something we had never seen before. You weren't including a lot of superstars around the league because you're only including Four Nations. Like, is that taken, out of your hands? Like, in terms of Russia, the whole, political climate there, you'd love to have Vasilevsky and, obviously, Kucherov and Ovechkin and everybody else included. I mean, you got Draisaitl, you got all these different people. Pasternak, who's from Czechia. So is that out of your hands? Like, how do you come up with just the Four Nations? Did you guys kick around a number of different ideas in an effort to get these other superstars involved?
Yeah, we did. We kicked around a number of ideas. We were really trying the original objective, and it was difficult times, right? Because it was COVID. We came out of we had signed a deal to go to Beijing or let our players go to Beijing, participate in the 22 Olympics. we ended up, the world had another kind of mini COVID outbreak at the end of 2021. We had to move or reschedule 80 some odd games. So the Olympics didn't come off. Russia waits a month after Beijing Olympics are over, actually waited maybe a week, and then invaded the Ukraine. So it was a crazy time. We weren't able to, we wanted to do a full World Cup of hockey in 2024. Obviously, things didn't come together for that. So we and the Players Association both thought it was important to have kind of a best-on-best international competition before Milan Olympics. So we targeted 2025 for that. It wasn't ideal that we couldn't include all countries, but we had to have control over the tournament. And it's only these 4 nations that can kind of stock a full roster with NHL players. So everything was NHL controlled. We wouldn't have enough players from Czechia to form a full roster, not enough players from Slovakia or Switzerland or Germany. So it would have been in the middle of their seasons for those teams. Those are things we'll deal with in the context of the World Cup. But we thought this was a good kind of jumping off point to get onto a regular best-on-best international calendar and cycle. So we'll do Milan in 26. We'll have a full World Cup of hockey in February of 28. We'll do, I think, Paris or France in 30 for the Olympics, and then another World Cup in 32, and so on. So every other year in February, we'll have an international best-on-best competition. I expect those to be kind of multiple teams. Obviously, in the Olympics, I think they have 12 teams that qualify. We'll have at least 8. Ultimately, we're going to want a qualification tournament for World Cup, but I don't know if that comes in 28 or later. So it's the kind of the first stage of a bigger international plan to make our international business bigger, and to make the NHL brand more prominent.
Why do you need the IIHF? I mean, you guys just did this on your own. Are they a pain to deal with? I mean, like, you just proved like we don't really need you, but then you kind of do, I guess, when you're talking about dealing with what you're saying with other leagues playing at the same time, and if you're going to get cooperation from these other leagues. Well,
you answered your own question. I mean, that's by the way, they make it easier, if they can deliver. It is difficult sometimes, and particularly recently, politics are getting into the way a little bit. At the end of the day, we don't need them to do this. We have our own relationships with the independent entities within Europe, the leagues and the federations to do this on our own if we need to. Obviously, it'd be easier to work through the IIHF, and we want to be cooperative with them and work together to grow the game. So, look, at the end of the day, 2 things. One is they don't seem to give us any credit for this. We allow our players to go participate in the World Championships on an annual basis. Players who are multi-million-dollar contracts that our clubs are on the hook for, and they get those players for free. We get Zippo for their participation in the World Championships on a yearly basis, and yet the IIHF seems to think they should hold us up for some large payment associated with the World Cup, which again is something we'll discuss and talk through and hopefully get to a good resolution. But it's difficult from time to time for sure.
Well, they're going to change they're probably watching from afar and be like, oh my God, like we didn't put this on.
We're irrelevant. Yeah. Hey, what was your reaction? And I'm assuming you were at the Four Nations when all the fights happened. Were you excited? Like, what was your mindset? What were you thinking when all that went down?
Probably like any fan. I think it was. Look, we were at the Bell Center, which is a great environment. You were asking about arenas before. Yeah, that's also a different vibe, right? The Bell Center, unbelievable place to watch a hockey game, and a hockey game of that magnitude brought it to a different level. I think like anybody else, the first one doesn't shock you. The second one, maybe a good byproduct of the first one. The third one was surprising to me, but that was, that came after a play that might lead to that. So it all kind of helped fuel what was a great spectacle. And again, you don't see that type of game in the Olympics. So I'll say that.
No, you don't.
No.
But I will say that's what got the attention of a lot of media outside of the hockey media, a lot of celebrities who were chiming in. I mean, and you do have, listen, they're booing the national anthem. You've got the political aspect, obviously. You're wearing your country. So that presents a whole different, I mean, you're reaching a whole different audience there when it's USA versus Canada. So a lot of people were saying, hey, is the NHL going to be able to keep some of these fans? I mean, you watch Boston and Toronto last night, great game, but it doesn't have the same interest level probably for a lot of these people who don't watch the hockey or the NHL on a regular basis. So is that your focus? Are you trying to get those fans to now come watch the NHL, or are you just a realist in understanding why they were so into the Four Nations?
So I think that's been our challenge with the Olympics historically, right? We go back to 1998 with the first time the commissioner did a deal to shut down our league to go to the Olympics. The concern always is, how does that translate to the NHL, right? How does that translate to our players, our brand, our game? How does it lift us? And it's always been a challenge for us to kind of get that halo effect from the Olympics. That's what we're trying to do with Four Nations for sure. And look, the way I look at it is, let's assume 1/3 of our audience, if not more, were kind of first-time hockey watchers, and they were drawn to the game by all those other factors you mentioned. If we can get 1/3 of that group to watch hockey going forward because they fell in love with it during that game, that's a win. That's a win for us. And so I think we can use these tournaments and these best on best and these moments in time really to kind of lift the entire fan base and the entire sport as we move forward. And I think that's what we're hoping, at least from Four Nations. And I'll tell you, the early, I was very, like, the time of the year, I think, is key, this February, as opposed to normally we played the World Cup of Hockey in August, September. It's not hockey season, right? There's a ton of competition, sports competition in the late summer, early fall that we had to deal with. And you come back to kind of guys going to training camp, playing preseason games, the start of the season. None of that, it's hard to create a halo effect from that when you're going through that. Now, these players are coming back. Their teams are in playoff races. We're a week away from the trade deadline. Down the stretch, I think they came back. They were ready to play. This past weekend, I didn't see any traces of a hangover except maybe in Edmonton. The games have been good and exciting, and our ratings for the games since Four Nations are up pretty significantly. So it's, hopefully it all works.
Yeah, you're definitely a different player in August than you are in February.
Oh, yeah.
Completely different player.
Yeah.
But is there anything that you look at with the Four Nations and say, yeah, maybe we'll fix that. Maybe that didn't work. And I know it's probably nothing huge, but is there maybe a little thing that you could have fixed or changed?
Yes. And this I'll take blame for. I had to manage the issue during the tournament. And you read and saw and thought a lot about it. So we went with a 23-man roster for each team, which essentially gives you one extra forward and one extra D-man. The thought process around that, and then we did that with the Players Association, right? Thought process around that was kind of multiple points. One, it's not a whole lot of games, right? Two, we're playing all the games in North America. All the players were accessible, right? Just like you'd call up, like you have a 23-man active roster in the NHL, you call up guys from the minor league if you need them. Wouldn't be a problem getting players in and out if we needed that. Didn't think we'd need it. And then sure enough, we have some issues with Team Canada, and then we have some potential issues with Team USA. And so I think at the end of the day, I'd go with a 25-man roster going forward. That is something that the general managers who were involved in the tournament kind of lobbied for, and what we resisted. And at the end of the day, I don't know that we should have resisted as much as we did. We probably we'll rethink that going forward.
Yeah, that was a little bit tricky for sure. Cam wants to tweet that you guys have a CBA extension already in place. Is that because
I don't tweet anything, by the way? This is the tweet master.
Or do you hate Twitter? Are you okay with it?
So let's say social media is suspect.
Yeah, I know.
I'll leave it there.
Yeah,
I know.
No, you're right. You're right. No, but like it sounds like your relationship with the NHLPA is really solid, right? So.
Yeah, we're in a good spot right now. I mean, again, I think very practical approach. There are things we disagree on for sure, and we haven't really gotten down to kind of what the terms of an extension will look like, other than the cap, which we have general agreement over. But that's kind of next up for us to kind of sit in a room and see if there are things we can improve on both sides with the CBA, and then hopefully wrap something up quickly.
Hey, what do you think we can expect for the draft coming up? How different is it going to look? I mean, from what I understand, Gary Bettman's going to be the one to announce at least the first round, right? So instead of the individual teams coming up and doing it, because not every team may not be there. I mean, how's it going to look? I mean, are some teams going to be there and some teams may choose not to go? How do you think it's gonna play out there?
Well, no, I think we're going to require representatives from all the clubs to be there, because they have to be there to kind of handle the players they draft. I think for the first round and probably the first two rounds, we're gonna invite the same number of players, so players will be there. I think the club's view is there's an opportunity to have more engagement in market. With kind of a war room or their situation room calling from the market and them being local. It'll be different. It'll look like the NFL draft used to look maybe 10 years ago or so. What the NBA draft looks like. I think it'll be a slow build if we stay on this course, where it'll get to be a really big deal. But we'll see. I will say, I mean, a lot of people kind of point their fingers at us as being the ones who kind of changed this format, and why did we change it? Really wasn't a league office. It was at the request of several clubs. We put out a vote, basically asked each club to submit one per club, because sometimes the clubs have different views of it internally. So we said only one view per club, and it was Gary and I were both surprised at the magnitude of victory for this model. It was overwhelming, and so we got direction from the clubs that this is what they want. We'll see, right? After 1 year, after 2 years, whether they say, we thought we wanted this, but it doesn't work as well, we should go back to the other. That's certainly a possibility, but we're locked in, at least for this year. We're at a nice theater in Los Angeles. I'm sure it'll be exciting.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You guys do an unbelievable. I mean, the draft last year in Vegas was fantastic. You guys always do a good job at the draft. Well, what about expansion? What's an ideal number in your opinion? I mean, you got all these cities being mentioned. I mean, Houston, Atlanta, New Orleans kind of came out of nowhere the other day. So, I mean, are people calling all the time? And how badly does the league want to get back to Arizona? Like, is that something that, if you were to rank your priorities, that's still up there?
I don't know what the perfect number is. I will say, I definitely think there's talent enough to support expansion. I don't think we're tapped out on talent. And normally, one of the things you have to consider in an expansion scenario is there enough talent to spread around the league that will support an expansion. I don't think we have that issue. We also have the benefit, I guess the benefit or the detriment of the fact that while we have 32 teams in the league, 7 of those franchises are in Canada. So that leaves kind of 25 U.S. markets, and it's not really 25 because we have 3 teams in the New York market and 2 teams in an LA market. So that brings us down to 23 U.S. markets, which is smaller than the other major professional sports leagues. So I think from a business standpoint and a player talent standpoint, we can have more franchises. I don't know how many more, and really it's probably going to be, as the commissioners alluded to, a market by market analysis as to whether it makes sense to expand in that market, whether the ownership is right, whether the arena is right. All those factors come into play. And what I'd say about our ownership, we were talking about the good old days in the late 90s. I was here for the 4-team expansion in the late 90s. I mean, the primary thing the owners were concerned about, or what they were most interested in at the time, was their share of the expansion fees to help pay the bills, right? They needed the money to pay the bills. Our ownership group is far more mature, far more stable, far more financially sound, essentially, to consider expansion now. So it's not about the expansion fees at all. It's really an analysis of whether bringing additional franchises in will grow the overall business of the league. Does it grow the value of my franchise by having a bigger league with more revenue opportunities? That's what their analysis is now. It's not about how much money can I get from expansion.
What about, do you worry about a market like Winnipeg? I mean, why? That's a struggle, right? I mean, I had a dream the other day that they were just going to move to Arizona. We're going to have this happen for the second time, Bill. I mean, that happened before Winnipeg to Arizona. Now, who knows? Maybe I guess that could happen a second time. But, it's Canada. And listen, people can't act like you're anti-Canadian. You are Canadian. Your mom's Canadian.
I'm Canadian, yes.
Your grandfather's a great diver. I mean, I want to hear that story too. So, but I mean, a market like it's a struggle, right? I mean, it's just it is what it is.
Yeah, look, it's a Canadian market. They're in love with hockey. They're in love with the Jets. It's a relatively small population that they draw from, but it's a passionate population. They have really good and committed ownership who continue to believe in the market or believe in the market for good reason. They put a good product on the ice every year, and they spend competitively, right? So it's all the issues that the old Jets had, this Jets team doesn't have, right? Okay. And really, at the end of the day, when Winnipeg moved to Phoenix, as you pointed out, it was because we couldn't find an owner who wanted to own that franchise in Winnipeg. It's a whole different scenario with this ownership group and this team. And look, they have the best record in the National Hockey League this year. They bring a good product to the rink every night. They have some success in the playoffs. I'm sure from a business standpoint, they'll be fine.
Yeah, because the cap obviously is going up. I mean, some teams, years ago, you had teams that were struggling even getting to the floor. Like, will the cap just continue to rise and rise and rise, and there's just no ceiling? It's just going to, we're going to have a $200 million salary cap, 30 years from now?
Look, that's a good problem to have if we get that. It's really, generally speaking, our CBA is formulaic, right? So what the cap is really is a product of what our revenues are, and it's tied. Now, it's been artificially affected by the whole COVID episodes, and now we had to kind of negotiate with the Players Association as to kind of phasing in what is a dramatically increasing cap so that we don't have kind of a dislocation. And quite frankly, so it's not unfair to the players who happen to be negotiating new contracts on this cycle. So that's what our announcement a month ago was about, right? This is how we are going to phase back to where the cap should be from a formulaic standpoint. And then once we're there 3 years from now, we'll be back locked in to the CBA will deliver a cap for everybody. And one of our goals, and I think improvements, is we want to get the cap. Now, we want the clubs to know and the players and agents to know what the cap is going to be. In the first 15 years of the cap's existence, it was very last minute. We gave projections. People relied on the projections. People thought the projections might be wrong. They didn't rely on the projections. This will provide a little more predictability for the marketplace, and should be good.
What are you friends with the other commissioners from the other sports? You guys all hang out and talk to each other and spitball ideas?
Well, I'd say we don't hang out, but yeah, we're friendly for sure. And Gary's been in his position long enough now that he is the longest serving commissioner.
Yeah.
So all of the commissioners that are now on top of their leagues are people who were my contemporaries leading up to it. So I have relationships that I built with those people. Rob Manfred, kind of on the legal side, Roger Goodell, Adam, all worked their way up to get to commissioner. So I knew him then, and we still maintain a relationship. But I wouldn't say we hang out.
Well, what can you tell us about Gary? People boo him, and maybe that's just a trend, and especially in St. Louis. And I don't understand why they do it in St. Louis. We've had 3 Winter Classics, an All-Star game. I mean, treated us pretty good here in St. Louis. But what are people misunderstanding about him?
Well, look, I think people boo him, right? And that could be what you're referring to. They don't even know why they boo him.
Exactly. Yeah. They're not booing him because they hate him.
It's ancient history, right? They're really, the original boos were probably about the lockouts, right? Yeah. So probably the 94-95 lockout, and then the 2004-2005 lockout. And, they want to hold Gary responsible for that. But that generation is largely gone now, right? So entire new generation that's booing him, they have no clue as to why they're booing.
No, I know.
He and obviously he doesn't deserve it. He's been a remarkable leader for the league. He's done remarkable things for the league. He's a good guy. He's a good family guy. He's very loyal. He's probably the smartest person I've ever been in a room with. So he's got a lot of good traits.
Yeah. No, he's done an unbelievable job with the league. Hey, television contracts. It wasn't long ago you guys were on Versus, right? The hunting show was coming on after you guys.
Duck hunting.
Actually, it was the Outdoor Life Network.
The OLN.
That's right. Versus. Versus was a better name for us than Outdoor Life.
I know.
Yeah.
You were able to turn that, though, into a contract with NBC, and you're getting Stanley Cup final games over the air on NBC, which was great for the National Hockey League. And now what you have going on with TNT and ESPN, obviously, it just looks like things are going in a real good direction. But, to go from OLN, the duck hunting show that was on before hockey and the hunting show on, and then NBC, you got to be proud of that, right?
Yeah, it's been quite a journey. And, again, credit to Gary because, there are rights holders are not our rights holders. The network opportunities coming out of the lockout, they thought they could squeeze us because they thought we were in a weak position. And that's in part why we ended up on OLN, because we didn't want to be squeezed. If you put on a good product and the marketplace will respond. And obviously a move back to the Walt Disney companies, ESPN, ABC, it's been tremendous for us. All the players probably tell you guys, all the players relate to ESPN, right? It's what they watched. It's what they saw growing up. It's what's on every TV in every locker room around the country, around North America. So that was a big deal. That was a big deal for the players. The TNT Turner piece of this, they cover the game a different way, a little bit different, a different presentation, different production, probably appeal to a broader scope of fans and audience, more entertaining, more entertainment based. So I think they're a great mix together for us. We have 3 more years on our current media rights relationships in the United States. Hopefully we can revisit that sooner rather than later. And we're in the middle of a media rights negotiation now in Canada, where we have 1 year left with Rogers, but currently in an exclusive negotiating period over what the future looks like there. So what we've been able to accomplish from a business perspective is largely driven by what we're doing on the media rights side, for sure.
Before we let you go, the low income tax states, I mean, Vegas, Florida, Texas, like if I'm a player, like Nashville, like that's where I'd want to be. You know, we're seeing that's the trend where a lot of players are obviously signing or trying, you know, the star players who have the options, you know, who can pretty much, you know, have a lot of teams obviously interested in signing them. They can kind of pick and choose where they go. But is that an advantage? I mean, it's got to be an advantage for some of these teams, right?
I think it's an advantage for some of these teams, but they're one of many variables, right? There are a lot of advantages that different markets can offer players, including, you know, and it depends what the player is interested in, right? And the stage of his career, the stage of his life he's at, whether he has a family or doesn't have a family. You know, New York and California are probably the highest tax states in the country, yet players want to play there, right? Mm-hmm. Players want to play in California. They want to live on the beach. They want to be in New York because that's where everything's happening. You know, Canada has the advantage of players getting paid in American dollars and living in, you know, communities where the dollar is worth 68 cents. Wow. Or whatever it is. So, you know, that's a lot of buying power for our players to go to Canadian cities. So there's always been advantages and disadvantages to markets, and I think that's how the players view it. They weigh those advantages, disadvantages, depends on what their interest is at the time, and they make decisions that work for them.
It's so true. My son just had a hockey tournament in Toronto. I was out there. I felt like everything I was buying was discounted.
Because it was.
And I ended up spending more money because I thought I was getting a discount on everything. Hey, you're a football guy, though, right? Dartmouth. What position did you play?
I was running back.
Running back.
You scoring touchdowns? Like, what's your best game ever?
So my best varsity game was a 2-touchdown game against Columbia. My senior year. I led the team in touchdowns my senior year, but don't ask me how many because it wasn't a lot.
I played football too, but that's
here we go.
That's for another story.
He's got a meeting.
Yeah, I know. Hey, listen, congratulations on where the league is at and everything you guys are doing, and a lot of exciting things coming up too, and really appreciate you
doing a great job
coming on with us.
Thank you.
So thank
you
much.
for having me, guys. This was fun.
Yeah.
Appreciate your time.
Appreciate
Thank
it, Billy.
Thanks, guys.
Have a great day, okay?
See you, bud.
Take care. The Cam&Strick Podcast is brought to you by Bellman. BEHLMANN. Bellman Automotive. Located where?
Troy,
Missouri. Buick GMC on one side of the street. Right on the other side, Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Get yourself some new wheels in time for the winter. That was Bill Daly with us on the Cam&Strick Podcast. Hope you enjoyed that.
I wonder if he lives in Connecticut or New York.
I'm going to say Connecticut. He has to commute an hour.
Yeah.
Would you like to have that type of lifestyle?
He's probably making $3 million.
More than that.
$4 million.
More than that.
In New York. I mean, I asked
him. He's making way more than that.
Really? $5 million? Okay. He's making a lot of money. But, you know, you just get used to it. I commute 45 minutes everywhere I go, basically. So I would get used to it. But commuting in traffic.
Yeah, but it's different type of commute.
I know.
He's not driving. He's got to park his car. He's got to get on a train. He's got to wait for the train, get on the train.
That's tough.
Lots of people around. Then get off the train and then walk to the office.
Yeah, because otherwise it'd take 2 hours.
And some days it's raining and some days it's snowing.
Otherwise it'd take 2 or 3 hours. And then he's got to go see his schedule's tight, man. He gets up early and he goes to bed late every single night.
He was a football player back in the day.
Yeah, I know. We talked about it. If they listen, they're not just going to skip to this
appreciate
part,
it.
You know,
Cam.
So, but and he's probably going to take. Oh, you didn't ask him if Batman's going to step aside anytime soon.
No,
and
I didn't want
over.
to ask that.
Yeah. What's the other question you wanted to ask him? You said that people are going to complain about.
I don't know. We'll see. They're going to tell me a million of them.
Well, it's good for him to come on, man. He gave us good 40 minutes. That's cool.
And for another 20 minutes, I could have gotten at least 5 or 6 more questions in.
Yeah.
For a typical interview, like an hour, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but he doesn't do those.
No, I'm just saying I could have, so we had to go a little short. So the next time we have him on, maybe we'll get into some of those questions that people are going to come at me and say you should have asked him this.
Or we'll get Gary Bettman on and we'll ask him.
Mm-hmm.
He just went on Dan Patrick the other day.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't listen to it.
No.
But
Dan Patrick does a great job.
Yeah.
I'd love to have a show like that.
I know you would. And you would want me to sit in the corner.
One day, I'm going to have my own show, and Cam's going to just be my sidekick.
Yeah, right.
And I was going to put Cam on a recliner.
I chime in once in a while, and then I'll say something. You just interrupt
me.
You just
is it? And I mean this. Is it derogatory to call a French Canadian
frog
a frog?
Yeah.
So
just like calling a Native American Indian. I've never
heard of that
because you never lived in Canada.
I lived in Arizona, and
you never lived in Canada,
dude.
So that's what they do in Canada. That's why I heard it first in Canada.
Those are First Nation. That's not Native American.
Whatever, dude. So
I lived on the Navajo reservation. I told you that.
I'm telling you what I'm saying.
With the reservation dogs and
so you asked me a question
peyote
and
everything.
So especially, that is derogatory. Do I give a fuck? No. Do most French guys give a fuck? Probably not.
You ever smoke peyote?
Anybody and everybody I play with would give a fuck. You call them. I heard it in the locker room a billion times. I never heard Injun until
never heard of that.
I know you haven't because you never really played in Canada. And I went to Canada, and that's what I heard all the time. Like, what the fuck's that?
Okay,
so that was new.
So Gino Malkin on his Instagram story called Marc-Andre Fleury the best frog ever.
It's funny.
And they're boys, man.
Yeah.
So obviously...
But is it derogatory towards...
Would people find offense to that?
In Quebec and Montreal? God, yeah. They would love to be pissed about that. They'd love to be offended. Mm-hmm. They want to be offended. They're professional fucking... They want. That's what they do. They get offended by everything.
Yeah.
Because then you become the victim.
Yeah. Well, I said this...
He could just stand on his head.
I said this on TV the other night after the game against LA, where they lost in overtime. Byfield, right under the bar.
That was a good game, though, man. That was a statement game.
It was. But I feel like, and you could make the case, that Binnington is now in the head of Connor Hellebuyck. He's won their head-to-head matchups in the playoffs. He just beat him in the championship game of the Four Nations. Yeah. So if you think that the Blues are going to be afraid of Winnipeg, if they were to have to play Winnipeg in the first round, I just don't see it. How they match up, you can make a whole different argument on that. Winnipeg's a wagon right now. They're playing unbelievable hockey. They got a great team. They're built for the long run in the playoffs. They have arguably the best goalie in the world. So they would be the heavy favorite. But
to be fair,
they had the home ice advantage against the Blues last time they faced each other head-to-head. And, Binnington was a big part of that series. I would expect him to have a big say in this series, too. He's that one guy, man, that
shut the door.
He can just shut the door and change everything.
I mean, and get bombarded with shots by the best players in the world and still shut the door.
And, Hellebuyck being in Canada, who hasn't played his best hockey in the playoffs, one bad game, man, it's all he's going to hear
That's why I was going to say, like, when you're a team like the Blues and you squeak in, you're not afraid of anybody.
No, and you know what?
The guys that are playing you are afraid.
And
they're probably like, ooh, Benner.
I know.
100%.
And if the Blues get in, they're going to have to be playing playoff-like hockey from here until the end.
They're doing it now, big time.
And Winnipeg's pretty much been in control of the division all season long, right? So I'm always fearful of the teams that aren't forced to play competitive hockey down the stretch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In terms of, are they able to just rediscover that intensity and, because there's so much, the difference between the second wild card team and the first place team in reality at this level is not that much. The first place team is better. They're typically deeper. Maybe they have better superstars.
It's like who plays their system better and the goalie situation.
It's the goalie, man.
Like the Blues could have lost to Colorado
and the penalty kill.
With special teams too. Like you gotta just be smart. The Blues just funnel everybody to the middle of the ice and they slow things down. They in the D zone they just kick it wide. Like they don't make many mistakes. No odd man rushes. Like that kind of stuff. Anybody could beat anybody. Then.
I feel like Jim Montgomery did not have a training camp. Obviously, just came here on the fly. Yep. I feel like that 2-week break allowed him to fully get a handle on what he has and what adjustments needed to be made.
Everything was a whirlwind for him.
You know what I mean? And it's like now, okay, we get a break. Now I can come back. I know it's only a couple days, but we can have our own little training camp.
Yeah.
And get some adjustments made and get things in place.
Reset. Like I got to.
That we need to start doing to have success. That break allowed him to do that. We'll get him back on after the season, man.
So right when he got hired, like we seriously were gone 20 days out of freaking December.
Yeah,
like there's
that
no
was a crazy
that you could
month.
even like figure. Like, there's so much going on. He's got to do media stuff. He's doing this.
Yeah, but there's no practice time. All of that. You know what I mean? Guys are coming in and out of the lineups, trying to figure out who can play with who.
Yeah.
What the best
What
lineup
works.
is. What works. What doesn't work.
Yeah. It's not easy, man. It's not easy. How's McClellan doing in Detroit lately? You know, he came out hot. And
well, I think a lot of guys come out hot, and then
he got
you're,
really hot.
you're going to cool off.
And then
how do you respond after you cool off? Can you rediscover it?
Yeah, you lose a lot.
Who
of that
are
emotion.
you?
Yeah, who are you? What do you want to do here?
Are Elon and Trump not getting along?
They're going to go through.
I said we wouldn't have politics today, but I'm just curious.
I've been a good boy today. I've been pretty dang
good.
good.
They don't like it when you talk about politics. So
some do and some don't. And the people that don't are the ones that are loud. You know what I mean? So like a lot of people agree with me with what I say.
Are they fighting?
But I doesn't mean that they're going to have their riffs. We talked about this before. I hope they're just two big personalities going. But, you know, you got to listen to Trump. He's your boss. You listen to him. I don't care if you're Elon and you're making rockets and blah, 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 blah. You know, you're getting your cars fucking.
Elon's not used to having a boss.
He's your boss.
Like he's the richest man in the world.
I don't give a damn. He's your boss. A lot of these guys they've been doing a lot of stuff for a long time where they didn't have to.
But you hear what I'm saying though?
No, I know. Exactly.
When you're the richest man in the world, and all of a sudden, like someone's kind of like
Trump,
they might be telling you no.
Trump can still run your show at any point and hurt you if you want to go toe to toe.
In Seattle, they're burning Teslas.
Stupid asses. Stupid. What are you mad at him for? Most successful businessman in the world doesn't want to help try to save you money.
Tesla was kind of a liberal car.
Don't you? I thought we were going to die and the seas are rising. We have to get to zero carbon, just like the new president or the new prime minister of Canada says. He's like, we need to get a zero emission. Like, oh God, that's going to cost you guys out the ass up there. So I don't know, man. Like, we'll see what
wasn't it a liberal car? Like a lot of people were using it to save gas.
Of course,
better for the environment.
Well, that just shows that. They just hate Trump so bad to where even if they agree on stuff like women and men playing together in sports and stuff like that, that's 80-20. And they still back that. Mm-hmm. Trans men in women's bathrooms, that's 80-20 in the polls. And they still back that because they want to do everything opposite of Trump. Mm-hmm. Save you tax money, all this wasted fraud. It's crazy. So that's all. No big deal. We love everybody. No big deal.
Vitamin C. I take my emergency too. Those vitamin C capsules. You know, I've been taking those too. Those are good for you.
No doubt. Dang good.
Hope you enjoyed this edition of the Cam and Strick podcast, man. Bill
love
Daly's
all you guys, man.
Again, firstform.com/Cam and Strick. Use our link and only our link. Send us your order. We are gonna put you in the running for a prize pack from First Form.
Big package.
They got everything, man. The protein is second to none. Their meat sticks are great. Their hydration sticks are incredible. Their collagen is unreal.
Their workout plan, the people that work there,
the app
they're
is
awesome.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. It is. It's
a
game changer.
I told you Nick called me and just to check in. Told you that.
He didn't call me.
I know he didn't. He might though.
Andy would do that. Andy would say something like that. Just a little dig. Just like he did before I was going on the radio in Washington when he said I said something stupid about Braden Shen. He's literally making fun of me for 20 minutes straight. Then my confidence was like, and I'm like trying to get everything organized. That's what he does. That's what he does.
You were laughing.
No, because I'm an idiot. It hasn't changed.
You tell Shen that you pumped his tires like you made
no,
him
but
out to be Brett Hall.
No, but I'm going to. I
told him, I think.
I pumped Shinner's tires up like he's literally Ovi
like
in 07 when he's dominant McDavid and 18 or whatever he got 120, whatever. And then Andy, literally, my confidence, see ya. I'm thinking I'm going to get on the bus and Army's going to look at me and laugh and shake his head. Al McKinnis going to shake his head at me. They're all going to be talking in front and fucking chirping me. And then nothing happened. Thank God. All good.
Like you're working with us.
Like this guy's calling our game and he's giving an opinion on this. Anyway.
Okay. Firstform.com/Cam and Strick. True Float, TRU Float. Check it out on Instagram and get these heated chairs.
Season's
and
coming up.
Get the coolers too. Cam's gonna bring in his cooler next time.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing. So
no, it's a little different. You got one of those like kind of
right.
like old school like football jugs, you know, where you like press the button and put the cup underneath.
It's badass.
It's awesome.
I'll show you guys.
But it has the logo all over. They got all different types of coolers.
They're tougher than Yeti.
Oh my God! If Yeti
and them fought Yeah, it's like
We're
me
to
and
fight
Andy fighting.
True Float.
I'm True Float and Andy's Yeti.
Oh, God.
And if we got into
How
a
could
ring,
you say that?
well, I'm just saying.
Don't call me Yeti. I don't want to be Yeti.
I
know, but
I'm
in
just
that
saying,
situation,
it just
I
shows,
just don't want to be Yeti.
I didn't mean to chirp.
So if you can redo it and say something else, I'd appreciate it because I don't want to be Yeti.
It's like you know what I'm saying. It's a big, tough, cool company from Alberta.
And Yeti is
they're kind of pussy. I'm just saying. Don't be associated with that.
Don't be a Yeti.
Yeah, be a shit kicker.
No wonder Utah can't even get the Yeti.
Yeah, I know. Bullying everybody and they're a bunch of pussies.
I watched them play last night. Did you like the Superman punch, by the way, from Simone Benoit?
Yeah, I'm gonna call that the
He got like knocked out, I think, in the game that when I was in Toronto and I saw the Flyers play the Leafs. I feel like he got knocked out in that game or something.
In a fight?
Happened. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind that. It's entertaining. You know, Kevin Bieksa did it twice. Would I do that? I probably not because I'm not as tall. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, yeah, do it.
I got to ask you about something, though.
What?
I wish I would have done this earlier in the show.
What?
So Ryan Kesler coaches a 10U team.
Yeah.
You know, and they had their state playoffs in Detroit. And we've had Kesler on.
Yeah.
But they won the game 48-0.
Yeah. I saw that.
Like,
stop the game.
Stop scoring.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
what do you, yeah.
Do you just? I mean, is it that much of a deficiency?
Oh, wow.
And I know it's the playoffs. They didn't schedule the game. Like, everything Ryan Kesler says is 100% right.
Well, what's he saying? Because I didn't see the full.
Well, he's like, dude, we didn't schedule the game. We're not scheduling games against teams that were that much better than that were beating 48-0. It's like you have to play these games to win your state title. So you have to go through all the different, AAA programs in Detroit. So they had to play Bell Tire. Bell Tire should just not even be playing.
Are they that bad now? What happened?
At the 10U level, they must be terrible. I mean, 48-goal difference. I've never heard of a team winning 48-0.
No.
I mean, what are these 13, 14, 15-minute periods? I don't even know what they are at that age.
It's not that much time, and then the thing is you can't just play your fourth line because there's not that many kids on a team.
Their fourth line is 3 times as good as They don't even have a fourth line. They probably had 3 lines.
Yeah, I was going to say. So what are you going to do?
And they're better than the best players.
Okay, so you don't score, so you just keep the puck the whole time, or you just give them the puck.
What do you do?
I don't know.
You just snap it around. Do you try to make a rule on the bench and say, "Hey, I want to see 6 passes before you shoot"?
Shit, even 20-0. I'd be like, damn, how they do that? 48. What was the goalie doing? How bad?
I don't know. I saw his dad get interviewed.
You might as well just forfeit the game halfway once you get
quit.
Just quit.
Just like, hey, we're done.
Because it's not good for the kids getting rocked like that either, and it's not good for them to bully up.
And Ryan Kesler, who's the coach of the team, wasn't at the game.
Oh, okay.
I think he was out of town.
Just call the game. We won. Let's go. Let's just save.
They don't do running clock in these playoff games either. So, typically when you're in a tournament or a showcase or something, it's if you're up by 5 goals or more in the third period, the clock will run. They didn't run the clock.
Well, that's stupid.
Because they don't run the clock.
You can't change the rules.
How about the clock operator to say, you know what? It's 30-0.
How about
so
the refs?
I'm not going to stop the clock the rest of the game.
Yeah,
and if you guys have a problem with it, then whatever.
That shows your character.
Write me up.
Yeah. And if I'm the ref, I'm like, my back hurts from digging these pucks out of the net.
And what's the ref going to say? Stop the clock!
Well, how about the game coming up?
It's only 27-0. They've got time to come back.
Yeah. They can't even skate. That's unbelievable. It'd be hard to even try to do it. We've had unbelievable alumni skates where our team was so loaded.
You couldn't even beat a team 48-0.
We couldn't even think to do it, even if we played for an hour and a half to beat 48-0.
Do you know?
That doesn't make sense.
We just had a parent versus coaches game, or parent versus kids game for Ty's team.
Yeah.
And it's not like we tried as hard as we could, but I think the final score was 9-7.
But you're probably
and our goalie was the kid, and their goalie was a dad of the kid who actually plays goalie and is a real goalie.
So what's your? So I mean,
so I'm just saying that wasn't even 48-0.
Yeah, but your team's not good.
We're playing.
Who's on your team?
I know.
Seriously, are you the power forward?
No, but we could have probably.
No, I don't.
If we would have really tried, maybe we would have won
with a decent goalie. Nah,
18-3.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if we really gone all out.
Who was on your team? Anybody I know?
Probably not.
Then no.
But I'm just saying, we wouldn't. My point is, Cam, it's not 48-0.
It's hard to get around some of those kids sometimes, man.
Oh my God!
And then the goalie will rob you.
The goalie was making great saves.
Then you know. Don't give yourself too much credit.
48-0 is what I'm saying.
That is weird. Shut it down.
And then
The poor kids
Kesler's like, it was actually 44-0, but they didn't put another goal up on the board.
Oh, Jesus. Like these parents.
We got to get him back on.
Yeah, man.
I got to talk to him about this. I'll wait for the summer.
They're just so obsessed with it, man. That, like, they know it's just their whole life is consumed by it, by their kids' hockey. But when the other team gets beat 40, that's terrible.
It's like grooming a Chinese
But Bell Tire,
Chinese gymnast.
Bell Tire, I can't let you off.
What happened?
What happened to you guys? You guys used to shit stomp us back in the day, baby. What happened to you? Bell,
there's sell
some more tires.
A lot of NHLers have come through Bell Tire.
Big time, baby. Big time.
Do you know how like the Chinese like gymnasts like they used to like groom them at a very young age?
There's a lot of grooming that goes on with a lot of things.
They would train like 20 hours a day.
Well, just like the Russian
Russian ballerinas.
Russian hockey players. Russian hockey players.
Maybe some of that's going on.
No, maybe it's not going on. That's why they're terrible. What are you grooming them to be terrible?
The other team.
No, the other team's just good. They're just good.
That much better?
That's hard to imagine. They must have been like
who's the second best team in Detroit?
Can we find tape of this?
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
All y'all out there listening.
Send us something.
Send us some video. And if you don't want us to post it,
but
it's fine. Just tell us
how are they
that.
going to find that?
Because there's listeners that are listening right now who have kids on the team
and they heard
who
that.
were at the game. Somebody, give me some video. I want to see some.
Now that's kind of blown up a little bit.
I need to see a full period.
The barn feed.
Like, how bad was this Bell Tire team?
You have to go against little pylons.
Oh my God!
You don't have enough time.
No,
you don't have enough time. It just doesn't make sense.
48-0. What were the shots? It was like 100-3 or something like that. Or something.
Is it co-ed?
I don't think so. I think technically it could be. I guess because
she could be good enough to play with the kids at that age.
Mm-hmm.
What? Jesus.
I think that's Bantam Major.
That is crazy, though. I don't get it. And for them not to stop the game, like, shame on you a little bit. Like those poor kids. Like,
I feel like Jimmy Howard, who coaches Caesars, who we've had on the show, I just feel like he would have been like, all right, okay,
enough,
guys, enough.
Like, well, how about the parents on the other team? Like enough.
Like, get them off the ice.
Get them off, like, stop. The coaches, like,
somebody,
okay.
please.
Are you looking at their coach like, okay, we're done. We've learned. Okay, we got things.
Did you see that Mizzou KU fight?
Yeah.
Club hockey. The cops had to come on.
Yeah, I did. Was that Mizzou? Yeah, I did.
The big club hockey, national championships are coming to Missouri this weekend.
Club hockey?
Yeah.
I tell you what.
You should come watch some of the games.
Because Lindenwood.
My nephew's coming in town. He plays for Indiana. They're playing Lindenwood the first game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you should come
Gardner's team.
Yeah.
Well, shout out Gary Gardner. What's up, baby? Yeah, I actually would watch that, man. I see those guys practice all the time before we skate.
All right, good.
All
right. So True Float, check that out. TrueFloat.ca, man. That's the website. Hat launch, man. Again, get these hats made, just like this one right here.
Yeah.
We had a meeting with Hat Launch the other day. I didn't have a hat launch hat. It's like the only day of the week I never wear a hat launch hat because I was at another event.
Don't even have to say it. You didn't even have to bring that up.
Felt terrible about it.
Didn't even have to bring that up.
Felt awful.
Didn't say anything to Andy about it.
He said something on the call.
Yeah, didn't
remember?
see Andy would have brought it up right off the bat and brought attention to it.
I didn't bring it up.
He did.
He did.
I didn't. I noticed it right off the bat.
You didn't.
I should have said change your damn hat, but I didn't see you until I looked at it right when I was driving.
How could I do that? Gosh dang.
I don't know. You should be fired.
I know. Hatlaunch.com.
You tell
only wear a hat launch.
How can you make a mistake like that?
Bad mistake.
Peelsy's going to tweet about it.
He might.
Look at that. So
can you juggle?
No, let's go here. What are we doing? Don't bore the people.
Can you juggle?
No, don't bore the people.
Blue Note Roofing.
Let's go.
Call David Novak today, 314-920-5713.
God damn.
Bad weather's on the way.
It is on the way.
Blue Note
and
Roofing.
Your shingles, your fascia, I'm telling you, your siding, all that's going to get rocked in a storm. In St. Louis, it just is.
Well, we'll see if you're accurate about
that. The headwinds alone will rock and rip it up.
I hear you.
So all y'all know.
Illinois Recovery Center, Cam.
Swansea, Illinois, I'm going to be there tomorrow. Say hey to the people.
You see Keller's shootout?
Why do you go from this to that?
He's from Swansea. He's from Swansea. He's from Swansea.
He's
from Swansea. He's from Swansea.
You can't see. Even when I talk to him on the phone, I just know he's not listening. I could hear him texting and tweeting. You have a problem.
He's from Swansea.
You have a problem. It's all good.
My chest is burning.
Problems. You got a couple.
You know, when you have
always talk about my problems.
When you have
Andy, you got things going on.
When you have serious illness going on, it can do things to your brain too.
You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
Let's go. Wrap it up here.
Talk about Illinois Recovery Center.
Swansea, Illinois, Chrissy Pondoff, Jacob Miller, Eric Conley. They're the best in the business. They actually want to help you. They got a nice facility out there. You got to just get it done, and you got to do it for yourself.
If you know somebody who's in need of help,
reach out to me on my social media.
Right.
I got 2 Facebook accounts. Cam Jansen pops up. Instagram, CamJan25, Twitter, whatever it is.
He won't get back to you. But...
No, I will, dude. Message me. And I called motherfuckers and talked to them on a Sunday for fucking 40 goddamn minutes. And just the people out there listening will let you know.
The guy who did our music for our song at the beginning of it, he and I are talking about doing an album together.
That's funny.
I'm serious.
Oh, my God.
He's going to write an album for me. And I'm going to, I can rap too.
You can,
And so I'm thinking about doing a rap album.
That's cool.
Like part country, part rap.
Wasting people's time. Right now.
Jam band,
wasting their time.
So we've been talking. He thinks I'm going to come to Toronto. We're going to record that.
That's cool.
That album.
I actually do want to hear it.
Oh yeah, no, I know. I love it. Cam at Bellman, you get
Swing Dicks told you guys that before.
Yeah,
you know what the fuck they are.
But you do get sushi and flavored water, just so you know.
Type B personality. He's not creative. No Swinging Dicks in Troy, Missouri. Check them Buicks out.
Where?
Troy, Missouri. Check them Buicks out. Check those Jeeps out.
Yes.
Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. Those Rams are badass.
Yeah.
They got all kinds of options. Troy, Missouri.
It's Jeep season right now, man. Beautiful weather outside.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoyed this edition.
Love you guys.
Of the Cam and Strick podcast with Bill Daly. We thank the National Hockey League and Bill Daly,
no doubt,
the Deputy Commissioner of the NHL, for coming on and giving us some time. Hope you enjoyed it. Let Cam know if he didn't ask anything that you wanted to hear from.
Yeah.
Send all those comments to him, will you?
See you guys. Be cool.
Thanks, y'all.
Tune into this. Turn on the cam, I am the fizz. Turn on the switch, listen to Strick, yeah. Know if we swinging, there's never a miss. Don't follow a script, topics change quick. Looking for facts, looking for tips. One's an enforcer, one's a reporter. Together we Cam and Strick, One's an enforcer, one's a reporter, You tuning in to Cam and Strick.